Hello, 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 and good morning. It's Thursday. It's December 19th. I can't believe we are this far into December. It absolutely is staggering to me. Like, I don't know where 2024 went, but it feels like it sure went. Like it's been a busy year, and we have covered so much this year, but it has been an incredibly busy year, and I've been very glad to spend it with all of you. Those of you who watched the podcast yesterday know that I'm a bit emo about shifting over the podcast and all the rest of it. So that's where I am. Also, quite tired. To all of you that have inquired about how everybody's feeling, Travis is recovering from flu and strep throat and finals week and all of the things. And Dr. B is recovering as well. So we are, in recovery mode over here, but it is a busy time of year, and that makes it even busier when everybody else is down and it's just you. You're like, ah. So thank you all for the well wishes and for inquiring and all of it. It is that time of year. It is a tough time of year. So we'll talk about that in just a minute, a little bit briefly. Let me tell you what we are going to talk about today, and then we'll roll the intro, and then we'll get into the rest of it. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about Tom Girardi because his sentencing just keeps getting pushed. I am so annoyed. I was so ready for him to get sentenced tomorrow. I was maybe looking forward to it a little bit too much. Like, I'm waiting for the find out. We said at the beginning of the year, this is the year of find out. And I have been waiting for Tom Girardi to find out. And then his sentencing got pushed again. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. I'm a little surprised that the Supreme Court is taking up the TikTok case. We're going to take a look at what they had to say about it. Surprised, but we'll see. I'm curious. I'm interested. We'll see what happens. And then the Egg Lady Juror from the Murdaugh trial's back with some interesting motions to the state Supreme Court. And when I started looking at this, I was like, why? Like, why? Why? So we're going to talk about why all together. So that's what we're doing today. We're circling back on some of the cases that I've been covering. It feels like forever. I think Girardi particularly started covering in 2020 when the bankruptcy was forced at the very end of the year, and Erica tried to sneak in a filing on election day for divorce, thinking the news cycle wouldn't notice and all the rest of it. And here we are 4 years later going, why? Artesia Lulu said, wait, Egg Lady submitted motions. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Do not worry. But we're going to talk about some things going on in the community here briefly, because it's always difficult, because invariably there are people in the chat watching the video that are doing life things. And I never want sad and solemn news to catch people sideways. I don't want to be the one delivering news on a live stream that's catching people sideways that isn't mine. But also, so many of our community has been impacted that we're going to just briefly, and I promise you briefly, and then we are going to get back to all of our legal coverage, chat, because again, it's been a really hard week for the legal community here on YouTube. And I think a lot of you have seen that and have felt that. And we will talk about it briefly, because what I don't need to do is catch those of you out and about sideways and then feel terribly about all of the comments of, well, now I'm sobbing at my desk, because I don't want to do that either, because that is tough. So let's roll the intro. Let's take a moment, and then let's continue on. So let us go. All right. Let us intro, and let me take a deep breath, because I know if I get all emo, y'all are going to get all emo, and we're going to breathe together and roll the intro.
Hey there, I'm Emily D. Baker, the internet's go-to legal analyst, breaking down the legal side of the pop culture and entertainment stories we can't stop talking about. I'm a big fan of the cursey words. I've been a licensed attorney for over 17 years, but this is not legal advice. This is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not... Let's get into it.
So before we move on, and when I say brief, it's not out of anything other than our community wanting to make sure that we are not just sobbing on the internet, and B, I think one of the things I love about the internet, and I'm going to take this direction because grief is not something I'm very good at. I don't think it's something a lot of us are good at. I think it catches us sideways. The thing that I really hate about grief is it dredges up everything. Like it just dredges up all of it. So it really does hit you sideways. And I know how hard this year has been for so many of you in this community. And I know how much you guys not just watch me, but watch so many around the legal community on YouTube and enjoy so many different lawyers, their different jokes, personalities, and the light they bring to the law and the light they bring on the internet. And this community is struggling. It has been a week. It has been really hard. And it has been hard for everyone because people have lost close friends. People have lost also people that they just were used to tuning into. And so we feel like friends on the internet, whether we know each other in person or not, when we are part of a large community. And that is tough. So for everyone in the chat, and this is always hard because Starfish Signal said, what is happening? Exactly. I do not like to be the person who's just like, this is what's happening. But also, so many of our community are impacted by the loss in this community that I'm not gonna not, because when we talk about things, we talk about things. So Lori and CT and so many of you in the chat have shared and Sun, but condolences for Dr. Moo, who was a member that you guys have seen in the chat quite a lot and around other chats all over the internet, who had been in the chat even though terminal. For Bruce's son, which he has not talked about yet. I don't expect him to anytime soon, but that has been shared widely on the internet. And I know that a lot of you have been caught sideways by that and by Jeff over at Legal Vices. And I know that a lot of you, that was a regular part of your daily routine and part of the jokes and the laughs, because Jeff did a ton of panels around the internet and was on everybody's stream. So even if you watched other streamers, you would invariably see Legal Vices pop up in the streams of all your favorite streamers as well. So with all of it, it has been a very difficult week, not to mention how much all of you have going on too. So it's just a really, really tough week. But here's what I will say, as I have said, when there has been other loss on the internet's not always easy. The internet is not always a bright spot. But one of the things that's great about finding communities like this community and finding communities like the legal community, where the beauty of lawyers is we will never all agree, and we're all going to enjoy not agreeing and laughing about it, is that when it's done online, lives on. It's something that I talked to my kiddos a lot when they've lost some of their favorite content creators, is that the internet is still here. So there is still, there are still the streams, the videos, the all of it. And that is always a difficult spot and a bright spot, because those memories live on, and through that, people live on. So I am so sorry to all of you that are in the chat that are like, I didn't know. And for all of you that are in the chat that are like, I've been struggling all week, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you as well. So all of the condolences, all of the hugs, and to all of the law nerds, take care of yourselves. Hug your family members and loved ones, and just remember that with the internet, you can always check back in, because it is tough. Brittany said, I put mascara on for the first time in ever. I don't want to cry today. Brittany, you and me both. And you and me both. And it is always a hard time of year to grieve. That is not what I meant. Grief is always hard. Grief sometimes feels different when we are getting into the holidays, because the time gets marked together. So for all of the law nerd communities, I am thankful all of you that were like reached out and were like, just wanted to make sure you saw, because a lot of you knew that we had so much going on at Household Baker. And so with all of that, it really is a truly compassionate community to see how much the communities are interconnected and how much joy there is around the internet. Because one of the things I've seen shared the most, in addition to grief, is joy. That part of the grief underlies that these were people who brought me joy. That is what I have seen overwhelmingly from the comments. And that is a really special thing. So, to everyone who is mourning, to everyone who is grieving, may their memory be a blessing. May you take care of yourselves and be well. And remember, it's a lovely thing to be so touched by people that it impacts us. That is a special thing. But it really does feel different when it is marked so closely, right? By times that are supposed to feel celebratory. So, Law Nerd family, I adore you. I know that it has been all of a week. We're going to talk about the legal stuff because that's what we do. And that is not well, I mean, maybe it is a distraction. If we're using it as a distraction, just lead on in. Because it is hard. And don't forget to go and leave love for all of the community that you watch, because so many of them are also struggling. So just go give a hi, go give a heart, because there is just a large impact to the broader community as a whole, and to the close friends and family of everyone who was lost. Dr. Moo and Michael and Legal Vices and Jeff's family, friends, and then extended internet family and friends. So, Law Nerds, we are going to move on. I know all of you are just like, oh, it's just much. And it is. We are going, again, I'm going to say we're going to move on. Why? Because we are breathing. We are just breathing. We are just breathing. Breathing and breathing. All right. So let us all just take a sip and just move into talking about the legal stuff. We're going to talk about some Audacity, because why not talk about Audacity? We do have a sponsor a little bit later in the stream. We'll get there. But all of you, just deep breath, hydrate. And remember, grief begets grief. Do not be hard on yourself. And yes, we'll talk about all of the murdacity that is going on, because, you know what? Why not just be like, what the fuckery is happening now? Why not? That is what we are here to talk about: the law, The law is what brings this community together. We are not talking about heavy law stuff today because we can't talk about heavy stuff today. We are talking about ridiculousness and TikTok and Murdacity. And Girardi doesn't have a great Audacity name, but also Girardi fuckery. Just all the things. Can we get a pickle cleanse? I don't know where the pickle is, to be perfectly frank, because I've been prepping the desk to change the desk. And I think Griffin wandered away with the pickle. So I have to find the pickle, unfortunately. So, you know, we're... The FBI! They're all of it. The whole desk is cleaned off, ready for a fresh start in 2025, which I did before everything happened. And then I was like, oh, what? So somebody has stolen the pickle out of my office. We will have the pickle by 2025, and we will celebrate with the pickle. We will bring the pickle. We will have a full pickle back, not a nickel back. Yes, I'm wearing my Creed shirt today. Not a nickel back, a pickle back. We will have a pickle back in 2025. So this honk banana, no, this is fair. To the internet, I apologize. Unacceptable. You must always take responsibility for where you stick your pickle. No exceptions. Honk banana, no, that is incredibly fair. And I have detached and lost my pickle. And my deepest apologies, internet. I have failed you, law nerds, by not having my pickle. I will find the pickle. We will bring back the pickle, and the pickle will be back. Right now, we're just gonna FBI. The twerking llama is also, and Belle's like, where is the twerking llama? In the other room, because I removed everything off of the desk because I am ready for new desk. And I have just, but now I have broken the law by losing the pickle. And House Bathco is like, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the pickle anyway. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I didn't say it, Henhouse Bathco. You did, but I can pull it up on screen. Well, you know, maybe the man deserved a wardrobe malfunction of his own. It is maybe the year of find out. It is maybe the year we find out. An apology without a ukulele or an I'm sorry I felt that way. Michael, you're right. I'm sorry you all felt let down. It is not my responsibility to pickle. And I will grab the ukulele. It's also in the other room. That's also not my fault. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing at this point. But the detachable, I'm so pissed that the pickle is lost at this point because I didn't even think about I don't even have the goat on the desk. So, okay, let us go to the intro. Wait, did I already intro? I did already intro. I don't remember at all. Kimberly Smith said JT was in the pool. He's like, it was cold. It was cold. No. It was cold. And Janelle's got all the snow. So, law nerds, take a collective deep breath. I appreciate you guys. When it is hard, when it is not hard, I've got you guys. Emily, you can't say that after talking about JT's pickle. What the fuck are you doing on the internet today? What are you doing? What are you doing, girl? We're going to talk about TikTok first. We're going to end with Murdacity for the day because all the room for the Murdacity, but we're going to talk about TikTok first. Do I have these documents pulled up and ready to go? No. Do I need to? Yeah, yes. Let me grab it. I wanted to bring up just what the Supreme Court said specifically. We're going to go through a bit of an article as well. Let's see. But do I want to have to change browsers to do that? No. So am I going to? No. Why? We do what we want. Hopefully it doesn't break anything. Are we building our own streaming software in 2025? Yes, we are. Is that easy? No. Deeply, deeply complex. Deeply complex. All right. Let's, for all of you asking about Justin Timberlake, just Google. Just Google. It'll take you there. Just Google Justin Timberlake Nashville and it'll get you there. Don't worry. So, all right, everybody. And Astro Steph is like, right. Justin Pickle trending searches. There we go. Look, we laugh sometimes so we don't cry, because what we don't need to do is cry on the internet anymore this week. We've already done that. So let us swoop let us talk about the Supreme Court real quick. We'll talk about our sponsor, and then we will talk about the ever appalling lawyers doing all of the fuckery and still waiting for their comeuppance. But TikTok first. All right, we have swooped to talk about TikTok. Let's get this screen shared so we can chat. We're going to go first to a brief overview with the excellent reporting of Law 360. Why? Because we can, and because then we can all read along together. And we love a summary, and theirs is really good. So we're going there first. For all of you curious about whether or not TikTok's getting banned, well, maybe. The U.S. Supreme Court announced Wednesday that it will fully review TikTok's First Amendment challenge to federal law requiring the wildly popular social media platform to divest from its Chinese parent company or face a nationwide ban, scheduling expedited oral arguments 1 week before the law's effective date. I didn't think they were going to do that. I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm very curious. Here's the question. I'm going to put up a poll. Can I put up where is my chat? Where is my other chat? Where is my chat that I can put up a poll? I'm going to put up a poll about the oral arguments and see if you guys are interested in listening to the oral arguments together. But I have to go pull up like my YouTube chat, not my StreamYard chat, because I can't do the one thing from the other thing. So give me 30 seconds to pull up my chat. Emily, do you normally pull that up before stream? Yep. Did you today? No, I sure did not. Why? Well, I was running around looking for my reading glasses. So that was what I was doing. I was running around looking for my readers, because we're now at that age when I am like, oh, I can't stream without my reading glasses, because then I won't be able to see the chat. Great. For those of you, by the way, and there are more of you than I would have thought, that have said, hey girl, hey, we missed the other reading glasses. Guess what? I found the other reading glasses. I got a new pair of frames that were the old pair of frames. So I'm having those made into readers as well. So we can get back to the ones with the gold on them that are a little more cat eye. You guys are like, I love these. I'm like, okay, well, we'll do that. All right. So for those of you that are saying the sync is off, the second I pulled something up. All right, let's put up a quick poll and see if you guys are curious about Supreme Court oral arguments. On TikTok. Supreme Court oral arguments on TikTok. Let's see. Let's stream it. And let's skip it. That's the poll. We're putting it up. Remember, oral arguments at the Supreme Court. I think I spelled arguments wrong. Oral arguments at the Supreme Court are audio only, but we can still do that if we want to. So I'm putting that up in the poll, and we will see if you guys are curious about the oral arguments regarding TikTok and whether it should be banned. Let me know, and then we can listen together or not. I am very curious to see what you guys think. I know you enjoyed the style of appellate argument. There aren't a lot of cases we cover where the appellate arguments are connected to what we're talking about. This might be very interesting to hear what the arguments are, or it might be just a lot more of what we've seen. So while the poll is now up, let's get back to the article. Because they absolutely rammed this through real fast. They were just like, whoom, let's go. So the Supreme Court's like, look, we're going to expedite oral arguments a week before the law is to take effect, which is curious to me. The court set the dispute for a special 2-hour-long argument session on January 10th, during which the justices will consider whether the federal law passed by Congress in April violates the First Amendment. An expedited briefing schedule requires TikTok, a group of its users, and the federal government to simultaneously file opening briefs by December 22nd and to complete briefing by January 5th. So the lawyers have no holidays. Lawyers are not unfamiliar with that. But the lawyers are not going to rest this holiday. On Monday, TikTok asked the court for an emergency stay of the DC Circuit Panel's decision upholding the law, arguing, among other things, that the law improperly targets TikTok and its content under the guise of protecting national security. TikTok alternatively asked the justices to treat the application as a petition for review. The Supreme Court order Wednesday didn't announce a ruling on the request for emergency stay. Instead, they deferred a decision until after oral arguments. The law will therefore stay on the books since the DC Circuit also declined to stay the ruling. So before we get into talking about the First Amendment, we are going to take a quick sponsor break, which again, I will tell you what, if we had any more streams left this year, will we have bounced it to a different stream? Yes. Can we do that? No, absolutely. This spot had to happen on this stream day. So I wanted to give you guys the heads up on that because we are contractually obligated and there's nowhere else to put it because we are done streaming for the year after today. We will be back in 2025. So with that, a lot of you do ask about my skin care, and what I use. And today's sponsor is something that I use very, very regularly, daily, and take with me when I travel. So if you are ready, then let us go real quick. A huge thank you to today's stream sponsor, Foreo Sweden. When the weather changes, there's always a little bit of a change in my skincare routine, and especially since I moved to somewhere where the winter means zero humidity in the air, which is why I've been relying on both my Luna 4 and my UFO 3. The Luna 4 is something I keep in the shower to exfoliate daily because with the weather so dry, I do need that exfoliation. But then you can use the UFO 3 with all of the UFO specific sheet masks to target what your skin's needs are, including all that extra hydration that I need. What I love about both is A, they use the same charger, B, they use the same app, C, they are incredibly easy to travel with. The UFO 3 has heating and cooling elements, as well as all different colors of LED light to benefit your skin. The Luna 4 is great whether you use it morning or night because with the T-sonic pulsations, it really helps depuff. If you are ready to check out everything Foreo Sweden has to offer for yourself, I have an amazing discount for you. And Foreo rarely goes on sale, so make sure you take advantage of not only our link, but also use our code. You get up to 50% off using my link and an additional 10% off when you use code 10LAUNERD at checkout. Make sure you don't miss out on our special discount, 50% off plus 10% off with our code. Maybe it's time to pick up a little gift for yourself and a loved one if they're lucky. Let's get back to today's stream. Again, thank you to our sponsors because then we can bring you this stream without mid-roll ads, and it's absolutely fantastic to bring you guys a deal on stuff that I love. The amount of stuff, maybe I'll do one of those streams that like all of the YouTubers seem to do on a members only of like, these are all the things that I've said no to. Am I going to go buy the things? No, but if you're curious, we can always do that on a members only of like, this is all the stuff I say no to on sponsors, because look, if I don't use it, I'm not going to tell you about it. I can also do this is the stuff I use that are things that they're like, no, we're looking for a different audience demographic. And I'm like, that's dumb. Our audience would love this because I love this and I know them. But we can talk about that on a members only. So thank you. Lyndon's like, our sponsors keep us independent. Yes. And mean that you guys should see the scandal with mid-rolls. When you go to populate them, it goes to populate like 70 of them. I'm like, that's like every like 3 minutes. Like what? No, terrible. Rachel K said, ban ads. That is what we need. I mean, it would be great if there was a way to be an independent media company and not have ads ever. But also like Team Baker also needs to be paid like well. So we pay people for their work. And so that is, unfortunately, it's one of those things where we keep it to the things that we love and we get to pick. Alley Cat said, passed my first term back at college with flying colors, went back at 54 years old. Congratulations. That is incredibly exciting. So congratulations. And Leonard Cujo asked what a lot of you have asked in the chat, and then we're going to get back to the Supreme Court stuff. Will you be covering any of the Luigi Mangione case at all? At some point I will, but we have been so busy between when that happened and the end of the year that it's not going to be this year. It's on my radar as more court process happens. We will cover the court stuff. Right now there's like court stuff and so much other stuff. So I'm going to wait until we have more of the court stuff going on, and then we'll go from there. So that's how we're doing it. But at the moment, no, we're going to have court stuff and then other stuff. So we're going to wait for that. Also, just at this point, blame Diddy and Jay-Z. Like the amount of stuff that's going on in that case. And I'm just invested I'm invested and annoyed all at the same time. I'm like, more filings from y'all. Like, look, those lawyers are like, we're going to get paid. We are going to file all the things. So, anyway, let us continue to talk about the Supreme Court, shall we? And see what they're going to do with TikTok. This article that we're covering from Law 360 continues that the fact that the DC Circuit has declined its appeal allows the justices to avoid the quote unquote thorny question of whether to stay the law instead of deal with the dispute on the merits, says Justin Hurwitz, academic director at the University of Pennsylvania Carnegie Law School Center for Technology Innovation and Competition. That is the longest name of a school ever. He goes on to say the court's move is surprising, but also makes a great deal of sense. What's funny is that's kind of exactly my reaction to it. I was like, oh, that's surprising. Like, I get it, but that's surprising. But like, I get it. So same. The justices don't want to delay implementation of the law if they are likely to affirm the DC Circuit's decision to uphold it. I agree with that too. But not delaying the law would seriously harm TikTok. Hearing the full case in January lets the justices engage with the facts in more detail and gives them the surer footing to decide whether or not to enjoin the law until they reach a final decision. And I think that's fair. That they want more of the facts before making a decision. I think it's well, isn't that very justice-y? It's like, we would like to hear more of the facts. Come tell us the things. I kind of love the role of appellate courts in that they're like, come hither, stand down there. This is how I see the appellate courts. Emily, would you ever want to practice appellate court law? No. Do you ever really want to be an appellate court judge? Absolutely not. It's so much writing, all of the reading, small font. But this is the whole vibe. It's like, come hither, stand down there. Tell us your arguments and we will disagree with you aggressively, nonstop. We'll just keep interrupting your arguments and asking you more questions like it's law school. That part of the process I love. It's really interesting to watch. I love seeing what questions they ask, but it's like, no, come explain it to us. We will sit in judgment. No. Yes. Why? But what about this? And then the vigorous questioning reminds me very much of law school. But all of the writing and the font and all of that, no. They go on to say the challenged law, the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, what the PAFFACAA? Can we just name it the we really want to get rid of TikTok app? No, maybe no. Because there are two things winding their way through the courts. And the two things are the app itself and then creators on the app. So there are two things moving forward to the court in tandem. So when we get to these motions, there are two motions. It goes on to say that the act requires the California headquartered TikTok to divest from its Chinese parent company or China-based parent company, ByteDance, by January 19th, or be put out of business. Well, or be banned in the US. I mean, I don't know if losing the US market puts ByteDance out of business. I don't know the fervor for TikTok around the world, but it would ban them within the United States. So I disagree slightly. Congress justified its so-called sale or ban law by claiming ByteDance's continued ownership of the social media application would allow the Chinese government to access 170 million monthly American users' data and strategically manipulate the content they see on the video sharing platform. TikTok's proprietary content recommendation algorithm is located in China and liable to strict manipulation and access by the Chinese Communist Party, lawmakers say or contend. The 3-judge DC panel issued an opinion December 6th upholding the law and saying, quote, the First Amendment exists to protect free speech in the United States. Here, the government acted solely to protect that freedom from a foreign adversary nation and to limit that adversary's ability to gather data on people in the United States. I very much wonder if this is the direction that the Supreme Court is going to go as well. When previous iterations of discussion of a TikTok ban came up, there was a question about whether or not this was the government imposing a ban on speech or whether this is actually a national threat to security or whether this is a government ban on speech thinly veiled as a security threat and where the boundaries are. So where are the boundaries of that? And I think it is an important question for the Supreme Court to take up and start talking about where are the boundaries of that. The difficult thing about the argument for this case is some of the basis that the lawmakers are relying on is information that's not going to be public. So Sarah JD in the chat said laughs in unknown drones aren't a threat. Sarah, the way I'm waiting for the drones to be a legal thing so we can all talk about it, this is all I have to say about the drones. In most states, it's probably illegal to shoot at them. But if you live in a state where that's a consideration, you know where you live. And there are some states that are like, but is it though? Really? But is it though? I'm just saying. My legal advice is where you live, it's probably illegal. I'm going to put an asterisk on that and say I have no idea the feelings of like Montana, the Dakotas, and some of the other states that have less populated area. Like I could see, Shalene said Wyoming. Yes, I could see Wyoming being like, to be honest, I could see parts of Tennessee being like, I mean, is it though? I mean, maybe it's kind of illegal depending on how many people live near you, and maybe that's a sliding scale. That's not legal advice. The FAA can get petty. So just saying, don't shoot at things in the sky. That's my legal advice. But yeah, I chat, right? They're like, let's talk about TikTok, but not other stuff. Sure. Not legally related yet. Maybe later. But is it something that I'm keeping an eye on in the news? Oh, absolutely. Is my family in New Jersey getting regular texts from me being like, y'all okay? Like what is happening? We ordered our Malin sticky buns early. So no matter what happens on the Jersey Shore, I've got sticky buns for the holidays. But Jersey, you good? Like, thinking of you guys. Let us continue. Also, if you didn't know that Malin's Bakery will ship sticky buns for the holidays. Now, shipping is not inexpensive with all things. Like I get it. But they do ship sticky buns. So I'm saying it. Ariana, I'm sorry that Nightbot got spicy. Nightbot is jealous that Nightbot is not as beloved as Malin's. No, I'm teasing. Nightbot is spicy because all caps are really hard for me to read because I'm dyslexic. But they're so good. They're so good. They're so good. Let's continue to talk about TikTok, though I am ready to move on shortly. TikTok and ByteDance told the High Court in their Monday emergency application that the law will shutter one of America's most popular speech platforms the day before President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. And I wonder, did Congress do that on purpose? Was Congress like, they know the day of the inauguration. Was Congress like, let's just do it during like the last day of this term? Were they just like, that's what makes sense to us? I don't know. Maybe not. Let's see. They go on to say Trump, who had previously been in favor of banning TikTok, has recently expressed support for the app's continued U.S. operation. We'll see. Because apparently he said, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok. Follow at a news conference, though, had previously tried to ban TikTok. So we'll see what happens. It's up to the Supreme Court. I'm interested in the argument, the legal arguments, but I got distracted by Donnie's comment. Donnie, no, sticky buns, B-U-N-S, not bones, not sticky bones. Sticky bones are what's going on for me after the age of 45. Sticky buns are a delicious sweet treat. They are a delicious sweet treat. So hopefully that helps. Different than like a cinnamon bun. A sticky chat, you can discuss the differences and the finer points between a cinnamon bun and a sticky bun. Sticky buns are different. Lyndon said press conferences aren't given under oath. True, and they're not given with a security briefing either. So it is very fair. So continuing, it says, every other application accused of being controlled by a foreign adversary can invoke statutory procedures and standards to oppose a ban. TikTok argued Congress necessarily found that approach adequate to address any security threat posed by adversary-controlled applications. Only TikTok was singled out for different treatment of an automatic ban. We would have to take a look at the data collected. TikTok collects a tremendous amount of data, different perhaps than other applications. Not other, so hear me clearly, not other social media applications. Instagram picks quite a lot of the same information up that TikTok does. YouTube, not quite as much as TikTok does, but TikTok will scan like where your eye is on a page and how long it stays there. So it picks up quite a lot of information. Other social media apps pull up quite a lot of information. So it is tough. Let us continue on. It goes on to say that Congress's laser-like focus, also probably don't point lasers at unknown things in the sky, maybe also. Congress's laser-like focus on TikTok also proves the sailor ban law was written to punish the application, which lawmakers have criticized for exposing children to harmful content and encouraging users to sympathize with Hamas and other disfavored groups. Did they put that in their motions? We only read the other stuff. I mean, maybe they did. But that's something that's been brought up against X, against Google, and there's been numerous lawsuits. We've covered some of them. There's been numerous lawsuits against Google, X, and others that have said the algorithm itself is promoting harm in a variety of different ways. We covered one of the big Google ones, and the courts have repeatedly said no. So we will see what goes on here. It goes on to say a group of individual TikTok users led by agricultural influencer Brian Firebaugh. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Also, I didn't know agricultural influencer was a thing. Would we call Epic Gardening also an agricultural influencer? I guess so. I mean, it is a much more stately designation. It is a agricultural influencers. Argued in a separate emergency stay application filed Monday that the DC Circuit Court's ruling in this case splits with decades of Supreme Court First Amendment precedent. They urged the justices to review this case in order to preserve that line of doctrine. They're like, hey, don't. Let's see. The government didn't respond to either application before the Supreme Court granted review on Wednesday, but several friends of the court have weighed in on TikTok's behalf. And then it gets into who else has weighed in, but we'll see that in the briefing when we cover it. Let's go look at what the Supreme Court said and go from there. Gab said, Emily, you watch Epic Gardening? Yes, I do. And I know Kevin, he's delightful and I just appreciate him. So Lyndon, you are, as always, correct in the chat saying, I think gardening would be a horticultural influencer versus an agricultural influencer. I think you guys are all right. I'm sure there are also like permaculture influencers. Who knew there were so many? Look, here is my deep level of agricultural influence was my deep addiction to Farmville. That's about as far as it goes. I also really like houseplants, but that gets a little sketchy because my cats. So my houseplant goes to growing cat grass at this point. So that we have, because the thing with cats, you can't just put them up high and it will be fine. They just accept the challenge. So we do have houseplants. We have pet-friendly houseplants, but not nearly as many as I would like. But the way that I loved Farmville, oh my God, loved Farmville. There is a Farmville lawsuit going on that is saved for like a food court episode with Zynga. We'll get there. But back in the day, that was the reason to have Facebook, was Farmville and like Mafia Wars. Loved it so much. And then Judge Abby and I would influence each other over the things we were growing on our farm. I love it. Some of Ziggy said Farmville is back on mobile. Look, I've been playing Midas Merge. So it's got some of those Farmville elements where you're building things that are cute. Let's see what the Supreme Court actually said, and then we will go talk about lawyer fuckery for the rest of the show. But I love how many of you are like, oh my God, Farmville. Yes, Farmville. Also, yes, cat grass is a real thing. I saw somebody being like, wait, cat grass? Yes, cat grass is a real thing. I mean, it's just all the things. This is Diana said, now, Emily, you named your cats after the Weasleys. I did. I knew they were mischief. I knew. And they're just like, challenge accepted with everything. The cat grass helps though, because then they don't want to chew the other stuff. So it's perfect. Let us look at what the Supreme Court had to say directly, because I like to just go to the court documents. Weird. All right. They granted cert Wednesday, December 18th. I know it happened yesterday and we're talking about it today. Look at us. Go us with the timing of that. So good. So good. Consideration of the applications for an injunction pending review presented to the Chief Justice and by him referred to the court is deferred pending oral argument. So they are going to wait. They want to hear more. And that's what they want. They want more information. Give us more information. Applicants suggest this court treat the applications as petitions for writs of certiorari. Doing so, the petitions are granted. The cases are consolidated and a total of 2 hours is allotted for oral argument. What they mean by consolidated is there are two separate petitions, because one is coming from TikTok company and one is coming from TikTok users. And so those two are going to come together. Let us continue. The parties are directed to brief and argue the following question. So now we're going to know what oral arguments will be on. Whether the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, as applied to petitioners, violates the First Amendment. That's what they want to hear. That is what they want argument on. That is what they want to do. The parties are directed to file electronically simultaneous opening briefs limited to 13,000 words and a joint appendix on or before 5 p.m. EST Friday, December 27th. Happy holidays, lawyers. Cheers. However, they really are going to repurpose and probably narrow down the work that they've already done. So it's just going to get a zhuzh. It's not like new work. It's zhuzhing work they've already done. And then they are saying that reply briefs limited to 6,000 words are to be filed electronically on or before 5 p.m. Friday, July. No, wrong month that starts with a J. January 3rd, 2025. Any amicus briefs are to be filed before 5 p.m. Friday, December 27th. Here's the question. Will there be amicus briefs? Probably. Will any of them be funny? I hope so. Will Mischief file a brief saying, hey, we cannot manage our mischief on our TikTok shop if TikTok is banned? Because so far, their brief on the Jack Daniels Bad Spaniels case is one of my favorite amicus briefs that I think I've ever read. Why? Because it contained a full fucking section of Connect the Dots that was hilarious. Emily, are you here for the lols? Yes. Do I love a cheeky amicus brief? Yes, I do. They go on to say that booklet format briefs prepared in compliance with Rule 33.1 shall be submitted as soon as possible thereafter. This case is set for oral argument on Friday, January 10th, 2025. So be it. January 10th, 2025. Emily, we don't stream on Fridays. Well, we're gonna that week. Are there other court hearings that week? Probably. There are so many hearings. There are so many hearings in early January. We're going to be in court a lot in January, but I'm really glad for it. I don't mind being in live court with y'all. You guys, speaking of live court, you know who's delaying being in live court because they were supposed to get sentenced tomorrow? Tom Girardi. Just Tom Girardi. I will say, though, on a positive note from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I don't know if any of you are watching this season, but last episode, Dorit dropped more "See you next Tuesdays" than, any of the text messages in any of the trials that we have watched. It was hilarious to watch. Dorit this season was just like, zero fucks given. All the words are coming out of my mouth. I was like, damn, Dorit. Dorit was just like, Dorit was letting it fly. It was wild. For those of you that don't watch Real Housewives, I understand, but also I love reality television. This season has been a little wild on Real Housewives with Dorit just coming in as a totally different Dorit. Amidst a divorce, stuff is wild. The tea is wild. Dorit is just like, I'm sitting next to Andy at the reunion. And so when Camille Grammer was stepping to her about something, Camille's like, yeah, but you called me a "see you next Tuesday." And Dorit was like, no, I didn't. I called you a stupid "see you next Tuesday." And I was like, what? That was the clarification. And then in her interview, she said, you know what? I meant it as a joke, which Dorit says a lot. Like, things spontaneously come flying out of her mouth. And then later she's like, it was a joke. And everybody's like, read the room. You can't just say shit that's rude and pisses people off and then be like, but I was joking. Everybody's like, no. Everybody's like, no. But Dorit in her interview said, when I said that in the past, I felt bad about it because I was joking. I had been drinking. I was, trying to have a funny. We've all had that moment where you think something's going to land as a joke and then the other person's like, the fuck did you just say to me? Dorit thought she was having one of those moments. And Camille did not think she was having one of those moments. And now Dorit is like, I regretted it in the moment, and now I completely stand by it. I love that Dorit was like, it was foreshadowing. It was really just foreshadowing. Because, yeah, I think she really is a stupid "see you next Tuesday." I was like, damn, Dorit. She's just like, look, I'm not worried about my husband tapping me on the shoulder, telling me to like tone it down a little bit. Dorit's like, I am done. And she's like, and we're just bringing it. It's been a season. Here was my favorite part of the last episode we watched, though. For those of you that have followed my adventures with going to the Rhinestone Rodeo at the YouTube event in New York, Garcelle's hat from the show last episode that aired was the same hat that I wore to the Rhinestone Rodeo for the YouTube event. And I was like, oh, Garcelle is wearing the same hat I wore. I felt so fancy. I was like, Garcelle and I both did the exact same thing. We're like, Rhinestone Cowboy on Amazon. And we were like, yep, that one. Send it to me. I was like, we put in the same thing in the search bar, which was something along the lines of Rhinestone Cowboy. And that hat was the first thing that came up. So I was living. I was like, same hat. Love it. Because again, if you're on Amazon looking for Rhinestone Cowboy, that Rhinestone Cowboy hat is one of the first things that's going to come up. And it was perfect for the event. It was great. So, all right, let's talk about Girardi, shall we? Tom Girardi was supposed to be sentenced on Friday. We need another swoop because we totally diatribed about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Tom Girardi and the fuckery that is Tom Girardi, we have been following here since 2020. when Jane Erica Girardi, I don't know if she will ever change her name. I mean, Jane is a stage name, but when Erica filed for divorce, I was like, wait, what? And then everything started spiraling with that lawsuit from Edelson PC. If you have not seen my interview with Jay Edelson, it is on this channel. It is illuminating. If you are new to the lawyer fuckery and are like, what the fuck else is happening? My interview with Jay Edelson is illuminating. Or at least I thought it was. I hope you think it is too, because there is so much going on in that. And so when Jay Edelson filed the motion, he called the divorce a sham and started to talk about the fact that the money was gone. And in my brain, I'm like, how is Tom Girardi's money gone? Like I was with Edelson PC and everybody else that were like, this man was on everywhere talking about the settlements for billions of dollars. And I've said it multiple times, like how much is, because at times Tom Girardi was taking between 33 and 40%. And for those of you that do not know how contingency fees in law work, here's a very, very superficial breakdown. When there is a settlement, the money goes to the lawyer. The lawyer takes out all of their costs first. Money goes to lawyer. Costs come out. So any dollar they spent on faxing or on filing, like here's your $30 filing fee, here's your $100 for the courier, here's your, travel or whatever it is. They take out the fees, the costs first. Then they take their fee. No, wrong. Fee first, then cost. So, which I don't think it should be. I think it should be cost first. They take out their fee first. So you get the settlement money in and you take your chunk first. So whether it is 33 to 40%, that comes out first. Then you take out your cost. Then the rest of the money goes to the person who was injured, if we're talking about a personal injury case. I think it should be cost first, by the way. I just think it should be cost first because it should be cost first. Because if you're shifting things into costs that shouldn't be, Tom Girardi was shifting jewelry into a cost. If you were shifting shit, Murdaugh was shifting private jets to fucking football games as costs. Well, if you have to take costs before fees, doesn't that shift what you put into costs? But when you take fees before costs, then you are reducing where the costs come from. And you're choosing what you're spending the money on for the costs. Those should come out first. Your hard money costs, your line items of filing fees, of expert fees, of doc review fees, all of that should come out first, I think. Am I a plaintiff's lawyer? No. Does anybody listen to me about this stuff? No. Should they? Probably. I think that is just. Fees first, then costs. No, is how it goes now. Costs should go first, then fees. Either way. They take their fee first out of the whole sum. So you've got the 100% of the settlement. They take out their 33 to 40% first. Then they take out cost. Then the person who was harmed gets whatever is left, if anything. And on those structures, Tom Girardi was taking money from the clients as same Alec Murdaugh. So Tom Girardi, Lisa, this is a good question. Lisa in the chat said, what if costs are more than you win? Then you get nothing. Then you get nothing. And the lawyer will generally also take nothing, which is why lawyers have to have a pretty good idea of what their cost is going to be before they take the case, which is why a lot of cases just get denied. Cases that could be won get denied because they look at it and go, the cost on this and the lawyer fees are going to be more than you're going to get, so I'm not going to take the case. So, Legal Quilts said, worked for a lot of law firms as a paralegal. Some did fees first, some did cost first. I love that there are some that do cost first. I think it should be required. But also, if you ever have to hire a civil attorney, that is the first question that you need to ask and understand. You also need to know how much they're charging you for shit like photocopies. And if they're charging you for like their phone bill, not just the time they're on the phone with you, but how much of their overhead they're shifting to you. There's lots of questions that need to be asked, but understanding where the money goes, 1010 needs to be asked. And it's not always well explained. And even when it is well explained, it's not always well understood because it's only explained once and it's kind of fast. And generally by the time somebody's looking for a lawyer, they've been through some shit. And so the through some shit can make it hard to intake the other information. We're not going to rant anymore about that today because we're going to talk about Tom and fucking Murdaugh stealing from their clients. But Tom Girardi was taking all of his fees up front. So when the money was gone, when they were dealing with the Lion Air stuff in Illinois, I was like, how the fuck is that even possible? Because when you say to me, people are getting billions of dollars with a B in settlements, billions in settlements, and you are taking 30% more, he was taking more, but, and then where'd the money go? How are you spending that much money? And why do you need to take it from clients? Where is it fucking going? I was stunned. I'm still a little stunned. Like, yeah, it's probably offshore somewhere. That's speculation, but where is it? Where is it? Because you would be able to track that spending. And I also think this is why he was allowing Erica to spend money like water, because Erica treated money as an ever-flowing river that was never going to have a drought. It was just money comes in, money goes out. I want it. I saw it. I got it. I bought it. $1 million for a music video. Sure. A diamond necklace that I don't even know how many, somebody in the chat can probably tell me. I don't even know how many carats that necklace is that says CUNT, but so much. Just water. So, and I don't know if Erica knew where that money was coming from. Still don't know. Because if Dr. B came home and was like, well, yeah, no, we had a $5 billion settlement and our lawyer fees are 40% of that, in my brain, I would be like, oh, so the money is all then. Like, I don't think I could wrap my head around that. I also don't think I would buy a diamond encrusted see you next Tuesday necklace because I think I'd be like, wow, it's time to get some new comforters, but that's my life. I'm fairly basic. So I was stunned, like many were, that Tom Girardi's lawyers were on the phone with Judge Durkin, who threw shit fucking down in Illinois. I was like, where's the money? And they're like, well, we think he's out of money. And Judge Durkin is like, look, I understand that $2 million is a lot of money, but this is also relative to a law firm that was making hundreds of millions of dollars a year, if not more. Hundreds of millions of dollars a year. So in that context, $2 million shouldn't be much. All of you don't believe me about Erica's necklace. Hold on, I'm going to find you a picture. Y'all are like, bet. I'm like, bet. We have a sponsor. So our sponsor is like, Emily, why do you need to be sponsored today? Well, because we're going to say all of the things that YouTube hates. I'm going to find you guys a picture of it because you just need to see it for yourself. She wore it in an episode when she was in New York, and some of the other women were a little shocked, a little surprised. So I'm going to see if I can find, oh God, everybody just wants to show me the diamond earrings. We've talked so much about the diamond earrings. I need the diamond necklace, but I do not see it off the top of my search. But, oh, it says CUNTY. Nope, that's a different one. Where is the bling one? Chad, I'll come back to it. Somebody will find it. But it was one of the earliest episodes when she was first on. Ad comments like, Reed's like, no. Reed's iconic though. Reed would be like, I mean, it's serving. So Reed would stand by this one, I think. He is not somebody who's going to be like, well, we could do this for more monetization. He's like, girl, you do you. Don't get yeeted. But this is not one of those things. This is just one of the things advertisers get uptight about, which also for all of like the Australians and the Brits, I think it is a platform policy that'll probably have to change because That word colloquially means different things depending on what region of the world you live in. And it's, Americans are all just pearl clutching, but elsewhere it's just like, what? Why? So, all right, I didn't find it. We'll find it later. Don't worry. One of the moderators will find it at some point if it exists on the internet, but it was one of her earliest episodes. She was wearing the big diamond necklace in the Hamptons, I think. So, and then she has a pink one that says it too. Yeah, she has multiple. Woman of Steel's like she has multiple. Yes. And Mostly Harmless Fuzzball said there are UNT coffee mugs with a black handle. Those are also hilarious. Because I don't even know if they saw it when they made them. Like, did they mean it? Did they not mean it? So, for all the Australians, they're like, right, you might as well be saying mate. Right. It's just different. It's just different. Yep. They're hilarious. The UNT mugs are so funny. All right. So let's what were we talking about? Tom Girardi. Okay. So Tom, the money was gone, and then they forced him into bankruptcy. He didn't file for bankruptcy. His creditors came forward and were just like, bankruptcy, because we're never getting paid. Right. That bankruptcy is still ongoing. Erica's going to be left holding the bag. It's not going to be a designer one when the bankruptcies are done. The bankruptcy court is separated into two proceedings. Tom Girardi as a person and Girardi Keese as a law firm. Tom Girardi as a person, it's already been ruled that he's not going to discharge things in bankruptcy. For all of you that watch Rob on Friday night, he talks a lot about bankruptcy cases, is very knowledgeable about bankruptcy. But discharging is when you go through bankruptcy and then your debts are wiped clean, or anyone who watched Big Little Lies. There's lots. Bankruptcy comes up surprisingly in pop culture. But if it's not discharged in bankruptcy, you go through the bankruptcy to reschedule the debts or restructure the debts, but some of them still exist afterwards. They don't just get slate wiped clean. The point of a bankruptcy is for slate wiped clean. That's not going to happen in the marital bankruptcy with Tom, which means by the time the marriage bankruptcy is done, the Tom Girardi bankruptcy is done, some of those debts that will not get wiped clean are going to be marital debts that are going to fall to the wife, which is still Erica. They are estranged. She has filed for divorce. Tom's in a conservatorship. The divorce has not happened, even if she filed for that divorce after all those debts were incurred. So she is going to be left holding the shopping bag of debt, just all of it. So with all of that, Tom Girardi went to trial in Los Angeles with regard to 4 clients that he stole money from. That fraud case went forward. He was convicted. He is set for sentencing on Friday. And the sentencing had gotten pushed back just a little bit because Tom Girardi's attorneys were asking for a new trial and or a judgment of acquittal from the court, and the court denied both of those. But they were saying, look, we need to reevaluate his mental capacity and competency. There was an extensive competency hearing in this case, and though he is in his 80s, he was found to be competent and malingering. The judge was straight up like, that's fake. That's fake. You have some cognitive impairment and decline that seems in step with his age, but not dementia in a way that makes him not able to understand the proceedings against him. Well, the attorneys are still trying it, and the court has just delayed the sentencing again. The federal courts just aren't in a hurry. The federal courts are like, it's good. Yeah, it's good. It's fine. So let's see what the judge said. This was from December 18th. Busy week this week. Regarding Tom Girardi. In chambers order vacating sentencing hearing and setting status conference. Having reviewed the parties' responses to this court's order requiring briefing on the applicability of 18 U.S.C. 4244, the court concludes that a hearing pursuant to section, don't worry, we'll get there in a second, 4244 is required to determine whether, quote, defendant should be committed to a suitable facility in lieu of imprisonment. And then they cite the case law for that. Accordingly, the sentencing hearing for December 20th, 2024 at 1:30 is vacated in its place, and at the same time, the court will hold a status conference to determine an appropriate schedule for a psychiatric or psychological examination pursuant to the code sections and subsequent hearing. So what are they doing now? The court has already ruled that he is competent, that he's not getting a new trial, that he wasn't incompetent to stand trial at the time. The argument now is over custody. If the government's asking for 14 years, if he is sentenced to custody, does he go to prison or does he go to a suitable medical facility of some sort? And with that, we will see what the court does. Given his age, it's possible that they will determine that prison will not be able to accommodate his medical need. And that is what they are going to go through to try to determine whether or not prison can accommodate his medical need or whether he needs to be housed somewhere else if he is sentenced to prison, which I think is likely in this case, or if he is sentenced to confinement. The thought is where the confinement should go. The thing that's always so frustrating about that is the victims of his case, his clients who trusted him, had no choice. And they had no one advocating for them at the time that he was doing all of this. And some of them had an incredibly difficult time finding lawyers that would take their case against him. So it is very frustrating when he's like, well, I need to be accommodated differently. Your clients weren't accommodated. And we've seen the fallout, not just in Girardi's case, but in the Murdaugh case, of when people are catastrophically injured, they are getting settlements to help them continue moving forward. And when you steal all of their money, they go into bankruptcy, they lose their homes, they have medical debt they can't cover, they have medical needs they can't cover, all because a thing happened to them and then their lawyer stole from them. So I know he wants to be accommodated. I am sure the prison system is like, do not give us an 80 plus year old man with memory issues. Like, we can't, that is not what we are well set up for. But also, Nomad Purple asked a really good question in the chat. Do all old prisoners get transferred out to a facility? It depends on the crime and it depends on the need, but yes, it can happen. So it really, really, really depends. So it frustrates me because Tom Girardi fucked all the way around. And I am ready for a find out on this one. Covering this case for 4 years, dude, I just, my empathy and my sympathy as to Tom Girardi is taxed because if he had not bribed and lied and maneuvered with other people's money the way that he did, this would have been found out much earlier and he could have gone to prison then. But he got away with it until he was in his 80s and is now like, oh, but I'm old. So just because you got away with it until you're older doesn't mean you should not be held responsible. And it frustrates me. So Tom Girardi, we will see. However, I also understand that the prison system is probably like, please not us. And that a facility that can accommodate him is probably the right answer. But also, you don't get to just keep it going long enough to benefit from it. That pisses me off. And I think he thought that he would not outlive or that he would not be found out. And that he would be able to just run the course on this. So frustrating. But we'll see. So with all of that, let us continue on. Let's go talk about the Egg Lady Juror, shall we? Because Girardi just pisses me off. For everyone in the chat that said maybe he should have Googled luxury prisons for old people, you're right. He should have. And he should have found out that that wasn't going to be good either way. So Ray Key said Tom's money is in his mattress. He kept a part of it off the grid. If that's true, that was auctioned off in the bankruptcy and somebody was like, hee 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 hee. They also auctioned off lingerie in the business bankruptcy. You guys remember that? Not just the scandal earrings, but lingerie that was in his desk drawer that was not for his wife. Ugh, man, pisses me off. Just pisses me off. Let's talk about the Egg Lady Juror. Let's see if we have more smoke today. Let's see if it pisses me off too. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I saw it was going on and I was like, we're going to hold on to it. I'm just curious. Yeah, Neon Megatron is like, ew. Yes. No, it was still in a box. I was not clear. It was still in a box. It was boxed red lingerie that was found in his desk. When I say they bankruptcy auctioned off everything in the Girardi Keese office, that include cars that were parked in the parking lot. It included bottles of whiskey, bottles of wine, and it included the unworn red lingerie. Let's see. Tom. Wait, let's see. I'm going to Google. Because I'm pretty sure that this was actually won by someone that I know. Let's see. Here we go. I'm going to pull this article up with a picture of it because the lingerie, Erica's like, that wasn't for me. The media kept trying to make fetch happen with that one, but she said it was not hers. We have also talked about the fact that Tom was having affairs. There's a whole playlist. There was so much Girardi coverage. So, why would somebody buy it? Because this has all become infamy in pop culture. So collectibles, a Cadillac, and lingerie. So the lingerie, the auction, which will begin on August 25th, includes red Asian provocateur lingerie and the receipt for it. Bidding for the Lacey set, including a piece named Birthday Suit, is set for $100. And that was in fact boxed and sold, tags on, in the law firm auction. Yes, this was found in his desk in the law firm. Dude, lawyers. Fans can also buy a whole package of Erica Jane collectibles. People were also buying people bought alcohol. People bought the coat rack, which Heather over at Juicy Scoop purchased the coat rack. And I believe that Ryan Bailey ended up winning the lingerie from... Oh God, did I just blank on the name of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey? Girardi. I'm pretty sure he's the one who won it because it's now become part of the lore. The way that Andy has different things in the clubhouse, this became part of the lore. So let's see. I can't find a picture, but I'm pretty sure he's the one who won it. But that is, let's see. Oh, yep, he did. He made, here we go. He made a TikTok about it. I'm sure this is probably also on the YouTube, but let's go with this. This is titled Part 3 of my ongoing series, What I Won at the Tom Girardi Law Estate Auction. Let's see if we can hear this. Is my audio going the wrong way?
This is the perfect time to take you to part 3 of what I won at the Tom Girardi auction. I know what you're saying. Ryan, there are no winners at a Tom Girardi auction. Well, if that's true, then I wouldn't have these. Remember, I got all of
the
these
awards
in a mystery
too.
Grab box for
I had forgotten about the awards. The awards too.
For $75. Here's a fun one: an award dinner and silent auction at a family law center. Wow. Here's a law award. I spilt coffee on it, so sorry, but it's mine.
I think that's appropriate. I think destruction's appropriate.
Here is Tom with a bunch of rich people. Yay! Ooh, this is a good one. 2014 Dream Keeper.
All the
I
awards.
have a Dream Foundation. All right. Here's Mr. T's album. That's That's actually mine. That's not Tom's. Here's one with
Ryan.
Tom saying, Don Tomas. Just a bunch of dudes drinking at McCormick and Schmick's.
Of course it is.
Ooh, here's a good one. Worldwide Books and Plaques honors
What?
Tom Girardi because he read a lot of books and plaques.
These are some of the stupidest awards I've ever seen.
And this is mine as well. This is just Batman. That's from my personal collection.
There it is. I told you the lingerie was in there. I told you the lingerie was in there. Did you see it? Did you see it? There we go. Oh, I lost the audio because of course I did. But there's the lingerie and there are some of the portraits.
Remember, if you like these and you want to see more, please like and subscribe and all of that stuff.
Yes, do all of the things. I've been on Ryan's podcast a number of times. I appreciate Ryan. He's a lot of fun. We always have fun being awkward together at Bravo events. So it's hilarious. He is.
Okay,
Wait, Ryan, shush. I'm trying to. It's just auto playing now. Let's see if we can find.
Okay, lately I've
Ryan,
made it
shush.
onto UFO TikTok or alien TikTok.
Fabulous, but I was trying to find the last one. I was trying to find the one. Emily, did we just go on a side quest today? We sure did. We sure did go on a side quest. I was just trying to see if I could find the one that covered that he won the lingerie, but I don't see it. So it is on social media somewhere. Have I found it instantly within 3 seconds? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Is that all right? Yeah, it is, because it was in the last one, so it's fine. All right. So the lingerie is part of the whole auctioning of everything because for those of you that are new to the mess with Girardi, there's a whole playlist. It's so much mess. If you go back to my early coverage of this case, it's just me going, what? No. What? No. Like some of those are, I'm like, oh, sweet summer child, you have no idea. You have no idea what's coming. You have no idea. Because I was like, no. What? My coverage of the entire first 6 months of the Girardi stuff. Because every single time I opened a document, it just got worse and worse and worse. Ugh. Awful. Speaking of awful, let's talk about Alec Murdaugh. Finally, for those of you that are like, Emily, eggs. Let's talk about the Egg Lady Juror. Yes. What is going on with the Egg Lady Juror? Well, how many of you listened to the podcast this week? Let me know, because I alluded to it during the podcast this week because much is going on with Alec Murdaugh. Why is much going on with Alec Murdaugh? Because his legal team filed their full brief on their appeals. They are appealing on 2 grounds. I break it all down on the podcast yesterday. The Supreme Court of South Carolina took up the appeal directly. What's interesting to me about that is when they took up the appeal directly, I think it indicates that they are interested in reevaluating the law regarding this area, which is what happens when somebody who is a state actor, like a bailiff or the clerk, talks to the jury in a way that is prejudicial. Is that a rebuttable presumption? Is that a presumed prejudice? What is the standard? And South Carolina has a differing standard than other states and a differing standard than the U.S. Supreme Court. This doesn't come up a lot. I think that's a really good thing that it doesn't come up a lot. But because this doesn't come up often, there hasn't really been an opportunity, it seems, for South Carolina Supreme Court to reevaluate their law in this area and either reaffirm their law in this area or change their law in this area. If they change their law in this area, it is very likely that Alec Murdaugh will get a new murder trial. When will that happen? It will take forever. Why? Well, we've got to go through the full appeal process. They just filed the opening brief this month. So we've got a year of appellate process. So we're talking 2026, 2027, if he is granted a new trial. And if he doesn't plea to something in the meantime, because he's been sentenced already to 60 plus years so far. So this came up in that context because I was looking at the Supreme Court full case file with regard to this case, because a lot of it was just delaying the case, waiting for Justice Toll to rule, and then waiting to file the briefing. But as I was peeling through it, there were some really interesting orders regarding a juror who was seeking to intercede at the Supreme Court level and was asking for things. And I was like, what? what? What are you asking for? And for those of you who are like, I did not follow this entire case, Emily, what is an egg lady juror? Well, during the trial of Alec Murdaugh, one of the jurors was dismissed like the day that the jury was set to start deliberating, the day of closing arguments. I have covered that at length. So much happened. But at the end of it, the juror was dismissed for talking to people, not other jurors, talking to people about the case. And the way this all came up seems to be fuckery. And I'm saying seems asterisk because it's not been well and thoroughly vetted. However, it seems that this was brought up by Courthouse Becky and an alarm was rang about this juror. But when the court inquired, it came to light that this juror had in fact been talking to neighbors about the case, about their opinion on the case, about their opinion as to guilt or innocence before the jury was to deliberate. And that was the problem. Not the other stuff Courthouse Becky was saying, but again, how you get to the questioning isn't so much the problem, it's what's said in the questioning. You guys saw this happen in Depp Heard. One of the witnesses came up and it was like, hey, the reason this witness even came to the judge's attention to inquire about is fuckery. That's an old post. They're saying this witness is posting about the case. That post is clearly old. It's about a different case. But once they started talking to that witness, the witness said that they had seen clips of the trial on social media, and then the witness was excused. Even though the reason the judge started asking the questions was fuckery. Similar here. The reason they started having this conversation was fuckery, but then it well came out that this juror was talking to other individuals about the case and then was yeeted from the case. That juror was not happy. The reason the juror was referred to as the egg lady juror is because one of the other jurors brought in eggs for all of the jurors. And hell yeah, we're getting the eggs. Like, get the eggs. So somebody had brought in eggs from their farm for all the jurors. And as they were excusing the egg lady juror, the juror said, can I go back to the jury room and get my eggs? And all of us were like, I mean, yeah, absolutely go get your eggs. Like organic eggs. Go. $10 worth of eggs, if not more. Go get your eggs. So that is why the juror was referred to as the egg lady juror. This juror was excused prior to deliberation, after conversations in chambers with all of the lawyers, after conversations with this juror, after people came forward and said this juror was talking to me about the case, all of the things. So the egg lady juror is not done yet. Has given interviews, has talked about things, and now has been filing things at the state Supreme Court level. So we're going to look at why. Because what? Amanda Stillman said eggs at the store cost about $6 a dozen at the time and more at the farmer's market. These were like farm fresh eggs. Look, man, one of the things about moving is that there are a lot more people who have a lot of eggs. And so farmer's market eggs is amazing. I don't think Egg Lady Juror wrote a book. Courthouse Becky wrote a book, and that book continues to bite her squarely in the ass. But she might have, but I don't think the Egg Lady Juror wrote a book. It's possible. I mean, at this point, anything's fucking possible. But we're going to go take a look at all the things that the Egg Lady Juror has filed in this case and what the state Supreme Court has had to say about it. So let me pull up that drive. We did a quick road so far, and let us pull up the first thing I saw. So the first thing I saw with this was the court's order, and I was like, hey, what is going on? I'm not going to pull up the first filing because there was a second filing and they are similar. So let's open this. There we go. So this is the first thing that I saw as I was pulling through the entirety of the file. Emily, are you just like research attorneying up in here? Yes. Yes, I am. The Supreme Court of South Carolina. This is from October 31st, 2024. Myra Crosby, Chat also, I need an asterisk. Emily, the ADHD is ADHDing today. Yep. Why? Well, because it's been very little sleep for like a week. And it does make it worse for all of you that are like, why is this hard today? If you do not sleep enough, your brain does not work the way you want it to. Asterisk. I already told you how much I love reality TV. If I accidentally call this juror Mary Crosby instead of Myra Crosby, it's because Mary Crosby is having like all of a season in Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We have seen more from Mary this season than we have ever seen. And it has been very raw, very vulnerable, I think incredibly important, heartbreaking. But Mary has done all of the hard things on camera this season. It's been illuminating. It's been wild, but she has been just walking through it in a way that absolutely shocks me. She has been so guarded on that show, and incredibly guarded on that show, and has been so open this season, and has put just all of it out there, in dealing with addiction, and dealing with parenting, in dealing with her son. It's been absolutely, I'm still stunned. Like every time I watch, I'm like, Mary's doing that on camera. Mary's having this conversation on camera, and good conversations to have. It's just such a change. Anyway, Salt Lake City's been wild this year. And just sad, absolutely sad. But, Mary's been incredibly vulnerable with where her life is, and, raw in a way I think not a lot of people would want to be on camera when they are going through things that are incredibly difficult. So it's been wild. Maddie Flap said, I know a producer for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and I told her the same thing this morning about Mary. Yeah, it's been very interesting to watch. And I think very helpful to watch. I think it's, I don't know. It's such a hard thing to deal with, but it's especially when dealing with addiction and dealing with parenting and trying to walk through that. It's something that doesn't have a lot of light shown on it, because a lot of people, don't even know what to do. B, don't necessarily want to put that all out there while their adult children are going through it, or their teen children are going through it. And so it doesn't get talked about nearly enough. And when things don't get talked about, then they continue to get talked about or not get talked about. And so, yeah, wild season, just a wild season. So today is the whole thing. Jicky said, so many Real Housewives segues. Yep. Emily loves to talk about pop culture. So, and it hasn't come up nearly enough lately. All of the cases we've been covering have been very murdery. So we have not gotten to talk nearly enough about pop culture lately, and I have missed it. So yes, and it's on my mind. Anyway, I needed to explain why, if I get this juror's name wrong, it is not out of disrespect. It is that my brain is there. So, and yes, all of the, Cheryl Ray said, it has provided legal so much legal in the reality world. So, Egg Lady Juror is a juror who was disqualified at appellant Murdaugh's trial, asks to intervene in this matter for the limited purpose of unsealing the record of the hearing resulting in her disqualification. Some of that has come to light in filings, not all of it. The requests to intervene and unseal the record are denied. Denied. So for some reason, the Egg Lady Juror wants the unsealing of what happened at the hearing that resulted in the disqualification. I don't know why that juror needs that. They were disqualified. They have no grounds to appeal it. Like, I wonder why this is coming up. Because the defense attorneys should have access to this information. So Murdaugh knows, the Commonwealth knows. But I don't know why the juror needs to know. Like, I don't understand why the juror needs to know. I truly don't get it. I don't get what the point is. I don't know if this is a No, you need to tell me what's going on because we saw the record that we saw. And so I am very confused as to why. So let's see if we can learn anything more from her lawyer's filing of a request for reconsideration, because her lawyer was just like, okay, I know you said no, but maybe if we ask again, you'll reconsider. So let me open up the reconsideration and take a look at this. Also keeping in mind that it is well known that the Egg Lady Juror's lawyer is buddies with Murdaugh's legal team. So this is so odd to me. For all of you that are like, maybe she's writing a book, maybe, but no. So in the state of South Carolina in the Supreme Court, this is Juror 785, Egg Lady Juror Myra Crosby, Alec Murdaugh, petition for rehearing from her attorney, Joe McCullough. Petition. Petitioner Myra Crosby, pursuant to Rule 221 of the South Carolina Appellate Court Rules, hereby petitions for a rehearing. Your Honors, Mom, I know you said no, but, Maddie in the chat said she already wrote a book. Unsealing means a sequel. No more books, please. No more books. No more books. So she is seeking a rehearing of her petition for limited intervention. I know you said no, but please, which was denied by order on October 31st. Crosby is a juror who was removed from the Alec Murdaugh murder trial on the afternoon of the day the case was presented to the jury for deliberation. Sorry for leaving my pointer in the middle of the screen. That's me, not you. So the day the case was presented to jury for deliberation and the verdict was rendered, which preceded several allegedly highly improper contacts with juror Crosby before the case was submitted to the jury by disgraced former clerk of court, Rebecca Beckaboo Hill. It goes on to say the circumstances of Egg Lady Juror's removal have been extensively discussed in the news media and published books, including a book by Ms. Hill that references the sealed in-camera proceedings regarding her removal. I'm going to have to read this damn book. I have the book. I'll make a note over break. Over break, we are going to take a look at the book and see if Becky Hill put in conversation of an in-camera sealed hearing into her fucking book. Because nothing would surprise me at this point. Ugh. All of you in the chat are telling me that the Egg Lady Juror's book is called Because Enough is Enough. Okay. So apparently Beckaboo referred to the sealed in camera hearing in her book, which is incredibly improper. Lord. Although the juror was removed from the jury almost 2 years ago, the in-camera proceedings which resulted in her removal remained sealed, ostensibly as articulated by the trial judge to protect her anonymity. Well, she's not anonymous anymore if she wrote a book. Her anonymity, however, is no longer an issue as the circumstances have been much written about, and Crosby, in her petition to unseal, explicitly relinquishes her privacy. She wishes to rebut public statements by former state officials, Becca Hill, journalists, bloggers, and others with access to judicial records regarding her removal. Well, journalists and bloggers shouldn't have sealed records either. The only person who would have the sealed records are the lawyers and the court, and that's it, because they're sealed. So she wants to rebut what everybody said about her because she wasn't at the meeting. She was at one of the meetings, but not all of the in-camera hearings. So she's like, I want to clear my name. Give me the documents so I can clear my name and put them in a book, perhaps. Speculation. To that end, on September 4th, she filed a petition in motion requesting that the judicial record of her removal, the transcript of the in-camera proceedings, be unsealed. I mean, if they are, we'll go through it. Therein, she asserted the right to public access to the judicial record under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. I mean, I'm sure the state also has FOIA laws. The state filed a return in which it argued that, quote, the correctness of the decision to exclude Juror 758 is likely a matter to be raised in the appeal by the parties, and that any unsealing should not occur until after the appeal is briefed, even though, quote, appellant Murdaugh's counsel did not accept or object to the ruling removing the juror. Right. Because it doesn't impact him because she was properly removed. And she was removed because she was talking to people about her opinion on the case before deliberations. That's why she was removed. That underlying fact doesn't change. All of the fuckery surrounding the fact doesn't change the underlying fact. And that underlying fact isn't going to get undone, no matter the fact that there are surrounding fuckery, right? It goes on to say, and even though merely unsealing the trial court record of that decision can have no conceivable impact, it's inconceivable that there would be any impact on the appellate review. The state argued second that Egg Lady Juror is estopped. Stop it. From seeking to have the judicial record of her removal unsealed because on November 2nd, 2023, the trial court granted a consent motion allowing her counsel to view the sealed judicial records on the condition that neither she nor her counsel would further disseminate the materials. Ding, 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 ding.
Bruh.
Well, whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. She and her lawyer have access to the proceedings. She knows what it says. Her lawyer knows what it says. The Murdaugh lawyers know what it says. The state knows what it says. Everybody knows what it says except the public. She wants the public to have access to it for whatever reason. She's like, no, I want the public to have it. So for all of you in the chat that are like, yeah, she wants to talk about it publicly. She wants to talk about it more publicly. She does. She wants to talk about it publicly and not get held in contempt for it. Because contempt. So yeah, she absolutely wants to talk about it. Oh my God. The Supreme Court has to be like, but why though? No. Stop it. Go away. Stop it. Stop it. The Supreme Court. Shh. Stop. It's enough. It's enough. Oh, you guys have to remind me before we wrap today. Please remind me to tell you a Griffin story about listening to Let It Go in the car. Just before we wrap today, when we get to Q&A, I have a story to tell you. After the real plane, fake plane story, I've got a story to tell you. But anyway, I digress. They go on. She had all the materials. Her attorney had the materials, and they can't disseminate the materials further. It seems that they would wish dissemination based on this. According to the state, that consent motion allowing her counsel to view sealed records somehow is a, quote, consent decree. So they disagree with that. They're like, no, it's not. That further stops her from later moving to unseal the records. Footnote 1. Footnote 1. The state's terminology is mistaken. An interlocutory order of the Court of General Session setting conditions on access of sealed records in a criminal case is not a quote-unquote decree. A decree, well, actually, a decree is a final order of a court sitting in equity. Traditionally, decrees issued in the Equity and Judgments at Common Law Decree, Black's Law Dictionary, 12th edition, 2024. Well, actually, that's not a decree, bitches. It goes on to say, often the word refers to an order granting equitable relief, like an injunction, and consent decrees typically impose injunctions entered with the consent of the party being enjoined. That's why they say consent. As a compromise to avoid the risk that further litigation will result in more adverse consequences. State, it's not a consent decree. We want the records public, and we want it now, Your Honor. I want it now. I want it consent. I want it unsealed, and I want it now. Finally, in a footnote, the state argued that Egg Lady Juror had irrevocably waived her First Amendment rights. They did, and therefore she alone lacks the standing. Your Honor, she has no standing here. She actually probably... Does the Egg Lady Juror have standing to intervene at the Supreme Court level to get something unsealed that may or may not be part of an appellant record? She's not a part of the case in controversy. So wouldn't you need to go to the trial court and ask them? The trial court's going to say no. But I don't know if you do have standing. I don't know if I'm mad at that argument by the state because how would you have standing in this case? Well, she's seeking to intervene and they're not letting her intervene. So they're saying no because they're not allowing her to intervene even for this limited purpose. But without the full context, which we don't have because it's sealed, it's hard to know. And I think the trial court would be the proper court to decide to seal or unseal. But now the record is part of the appellate record. I have more questions. This is just leaving me with more questions. So they say finally in a footnote, that's where everybody gets sassy. The state argued that the Egg Lady Juror had irrevocably waived her First Amendment rights, and therefore she alone lacks the standing to seek access to judicial records that every other American citizen enjoys. Well, no, none of us enjoy access to those particular records because they're sealed. The state's arguments are, to put it mildly, not colorable. You could have gone with way more sass than that. Yeah, the New York lawyers are way sassier. Just saying. This is mild sass compared to everything else that we've been dealing with. Oh, now we're calling it bizarre. That's better. How bizarre. How bizarre. Everyone just heard it. You all heard it in your head, didn't you? All of you. Your head just went, bam, bam, bam. I know. The bizarre arguments advanced by the state in its return lacked legal force and logic. There's the sass. And you lack logic. You are bizarre and you lack logic. They lacked legal force and logic, and their legal insufficiency should be dismissed out of hand. Your Honors, laugh at them. Instead, the court denied the motion with an order without stating any legal basis, stating, quote, "The request to intervene and unseal the record are denied." Your Honors, how dare you? Denied. No further explanation. Because the order denies Ms. Crosby's assertion of rights under the First Amendment and the Constitution, she intends to seek review of the order by petition for a writ of certiorari to the United States Supreme Court. Everybody just wants to go to the Supreme Court on shit. It's not as fun as you think it is. Who exactly, chat? Becky R. And Becky, I am so sorry that Becca, I apologize to you and all of the Beckys in the chat. Rebecca Hill did you all dirty. I am sorry. Y'all are lovely. But yeah, who's paying for this? Who's paying for you to fight the unsealing of a hearing that doesn't impact you in any way that I can ascertain? If anyone knows the actual impact of this, just fucking email me. Like, what? I think it's gotta be you just want a book, but you want to fight this to the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court are going to be like, Matt, we're busy talking about TikTok. Put it on TikTok and then maybe we'll talk about it. Who is paying for this? The court's order did not provide reasoning for its decision, and that failure operates as an impediment to appellate review on the decision. Your Honors, we would like to speak to your manager. Give us the Supremes, the other Supremes in the black robes. I want them to unseal the records. Why? The First Amendment right of access, quote, attaches to any judicial proceeding or record, one, that has historically been open to the press and general public, and two, where public Emily, words are hard, where public access plays a significant positive role in the functioning of a particular process in question. Yeah. Can you go tell the federal courts that, Joe McCullough? Excuse Mr. McCullough. I got an argument for you. Let's talk about the federal courts and why their right of public access is minimal. Audio, like an audio feed. You want to talk about access? An audio feed. And this is coming from Courthouse News Services versus Schaefer, which I am sure was Courthouse News Service intervening. Look, I know that there is a lot of negative to be said about legacy media outlets. What I will say is the fight for continued public access has been undertaken by legacy media and legacy media coalitions largely. So the reason we have the access that we do is because media outlets have fought for that. Do I think that's all altruistic? No, that all has directly to do with money. But do we all benefit from seeing our courts in action? I think so. So is that altruism? Well, it's connected to follow the money. But again, we all need to see, I think, what's going on in courts. Make them accessible. The technology exists, for fuck's sake. People are going to be in court either way. Might as well make it easy and keep the traffic down. It's more environmentally friendly just to let people stream it. They go on to say transcripts of criminal trials historically are open to the press and public after a verdict is rendered. It then goes on in parentheses to say, but the circumstance under which the press and public can be barred from a criminal trial are limited. The state's justification in denying access must be a weighty one, where, as in the present case, the state attempts to deny the right of access in order to inhibit the disclosure of, sensitive information. It must be shown that the denial is necessitated by a compelling government interest and is narrowly tailored to serve that interest, which I also think will be hard to do here. What is the government interest in not having this public at this point? It's not her identity. It's not to protect the proceedings. It's done. It's not to protect future proceedings because it's very specific to this one juror. So what is the public interest? I'm open. Like I'm open. Y'all let me know because I don't see it. A trial courtroom is also a public place where the people, yes, we the people, where the people generally and representatives of the media have a right to be present, and where their presence historically has been thought to enhance the integrity and quality of what takes place. I don't disagree. Can we go tell our favorite judge in Utah this? Your Honor, look, I'm going to save this site. That's ironically literally from the year 1984. I'm saving this site somewhere. The presence of the public is historically thought to enhance the integrity and quality of what takes place. Yes, because when you have to filter all of what you learn about a case through someone else's lens, the takeaways are not always the same, especially when the media is not always looking at the legal side of the case. Some are, but not all are. Some are looking at what the headline is, what the story is, like what the tea is, what the click is. They're not always looking at it through what were the objections, what is happening in the courtroom. We saw this, I think, notably, well, in a few cases we've covered. Jason Momoa has not testified in a trial that we've ever covered, despite what the media may have said. But we saw it, I think, really clearly in the Alec Baldwin case. At the end of day 2, none of the media was covering the fact that Baldwin's lawyers thought that they would be able to keep out most of his statements. We only saw it because we were watching the case and we knew the import of what was happening because lawyer brain, not media brain. And lawyer brain was like, oh shit, that's a huge thing. But that's not necessarily something that a reporter sitting in a courtroom is going to key in on because it's not necessarily where their focus is. And I think you need all of it, not less of it. And so just having what's happening in court filtered through reporting is not super helpful. Now, there are great outlets that do that. The inner city press in New York does an incredible job of just saying, this lawyer said this person said this person said that. They do a fantastic job of basically transcribing court proceedings in real time on Twitter/X. Fantastic. But most outlets don't do that because they are trying to meet their quotas. If you ever heard my conversation with Mandy Matney about the media, Mandy breaks down in that conversation that we had really well of what the pressure was like working in legacy media, what the pressure is like for the amount of people you need to convert to subscriptions, how far, because they track how far people read down an article, how to increase your read through time, and how to increase your click through rate. And if you're just trying to say these things happened in court, if your boss is being like, well, people aren't reading far enough, then you don't really get to say, yeah, but this is just what happened. We don't need a sensational headline. People just want to know what happened. So can we just tell them what happened in court? And a lot of outlets are like, no, because you need to get this many people to buy a subscription based on every article that you write to keep our paper, our website, or whatever in print. So no, you can't. I thought that conversation was incredibly illuminating because I worked in law. I can tell you all about how law works. I can tell you how, criminal prosecutor's office work. I can tell you about how judges work for the most part, but I cannot tell you the ins and outs of media that is based on subscriptions and ads on a large scale like that, because we're just making it up as we go. So if you're curious about that conversation, I had that conversation with Mandy Matney. That's here on the channel. It's on the audio feeds as well. But I learned quite a lot in that conversation, which is why I love having conversations. So this is wild. But I'm saving that site because yes, I think when we all can see what's happening, we have a better understanding. Whether or not we agree with the outcome is for everyone to decide. But you can't know if you agree with the outcome if you don't know what happened in court. It goes on to say, when limited closure is ordered due to juror privacy interests, the constitutional values sought to be protected by holding open proceedings must be satisfied later by making a transcript of the closed proceedings available within a reasonable time. That's a good site for them. If the judge determines that disclosure can be accomplished while safeguarding the juror's valid privacy interests. This is part of what's going on in the Karen Reed case with everything staying sealed with regard to the jurors. I understand that too. This circumstance is different because at this point we're not pending a retrial, we're not dealing with a mistrial, and there's not as much going on here as there was in that case with regard to the jurors. This is all focused on Courthouse Becky and the fuckery that ensued. It goes on to say, whenever a proceeding or document is protected by the First Amendment, access may be restricted only if closure is necessitated by a compelling government interest and the denial of access is narrowly tailored. And for all of you that have listened to a lot of law, studied a lot of law, narrowly tailored is something you're going to hear a lot when we're talking about the Constitution. I feel like I'm a 1L today. Welcome to Law Nerd University as we're talking about narrowly tailored results. They go on to say the burden to overcome a First Amendment right of access rests on the party seeking to restrict access, and that party must present specific reasons in support of that position. They go on to quote that holding that there is a First Amendment right of access to transcripts or even preliminary hearings in criminal matters and the First Amendment right of access cannot be overcome by a conclusory assertion, which is what they're saying the court did here, because the court was just like, denied. They say the court's order without legal without stated legal basis, did not comply with the constitutional requirement to identify a compelling government interest and to explain how keeping a trial transcript under seal years after the verdict is narrowly tailored to serve the interest. The juror respectfully requests that the court vacate the order in favor of a... Oh, you chose to bring the smoke for the Supreme Court? Really? Right at the end of that sentence there it is. Whoosh. The court's order without stated legal basis did not comply with the constitutional requirement to identify a compelling government interest and to explain how keeping a trial transcript under seal years after the verdict is narrowly tailored to serve that interest. Y'all explain. The juror therefore respectfully requests that the court vacate its order in favor of a reasoned order. It sounds snappy. I know you're asking them to put their reasoning on the record, but it sounds snappy when you say it that way. Or, in the alternative, issue a memorandum opinion providing the reasoning of the order. Sass. Tell us why so we can appeal to your bosses, who aren't really your bosses because separation, but that's a conversation for another day. What do you think the court does? They basically said the court did not understand the assignment. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. But they're like, can you give us a reason response? I'm going to start using that in my emails when I'm pissed off. Excuse me, you've given me an explanation, but you have not given me a reasoned explanation. So what I would like is you to go back and then give me the reasoned explanation. Because what you started with, wasn't it? Oh, the sass. Emily, are we feeling feisty? Yes. Yes, we are. Why? I don't. Mars is in retrograde, y'all. It's feisty. It's feisty. It's just feisty energy at the moment. The Supreme Court of South Carolina. This is dated. When is this dated? December 12th. So if you guys are like, is this current? Yes, this is still ongoing. The Egg Lady Juror is still fighting this. We had the denial back at the end of October, and now they are still just getting into it. So let's see what the court decided to do. The court's like, hey,
We're
order. By order dated October 31st, 2024, this court denied the motion filed by Myra Cosby, a juror who was disqualified at appellant's trial, to intervene in this matter for the limited purpose of unsealing the record of the hearing resulting in her disqualification. Crosby, there we go. Oh, no, too big. Back it up. There we go. Emily, you can't say back it up. Too close. Back it up. It's Jordan the Stallion's line. Don't. Jordan's going to be like, y'all follow me on YouTube because TikTok, but also back it up is definitely his thing. Ms. Crosby now seeks rehearing of that order. We denied Ms. Crosby's motion because we did not have a designation of matter to be included in the record on appeal, much less a record on appeal. Indeed, appellant has only this last week filed his initial brief and designation. As such, there was no record before the court to unseal. The court's like, excuse me, Mr. McCullough. For all of you asking, is Jordan the Stallion on YouTube? Yes, he is on YouTube. I also follow him on Instagram. But yes, he is on YouTube. And I will tell you, side quest, if you have TikTokers that you adore, that you watch, that you want to support, YouTube pays better than Instagram. So if you follow them on Instagram, it's great. It's great to view their content there. Also go subscribe to them on YouTube. I think just about everyone who does short form content is starting YouTube channels. Go find your favorites here on YouTube too. Under the Desk News, Elise Myers, all of them have YouTube. Go find them on YouTube. Of all of the platforms that pay creators, YouTube does it the best. YouTube does it the best. So go support the creators. that you support before everything gets wild or doesn't. But either way, watching their content on YouTube will benefit them differently than watching them on other platforms. So Tracy said he is also on Facebook. I don't even, other than interacting with the Lawnards, I can't even with Facebook. And yes, I'm an Instagram, YouTube girly for sure. All right. So the court's like, what would you like us to unseal? We don't have a fucking record. There's nothing to unseal. There is nothing before us. Unseal the what? The nothing that exists? Fine. I will unseal the nothing. And then you get nothing. Here is the nothing that you requested. As such, there is no record before this court to unseal. So what the Court of Appeal is saying, before I soliloquy about following your favorites, what the Court of Appeal is saying is that until the record is designated before them by the appellant, the record does not exist. So until Murdaugh and his legal team are like, here, Your Honor, this is what we're appealing on. Here are the transcripts. Here you go. The Court of Appeals does not have any record before them. They wait. And for all of you that are going to ask, can the Court of Appeals just go watch the trial on YouTube? No, they can't. They have to go by the record. And so until somebody gives them the record that they're to review, there's nothing they can do. They just have to wait. The appellate court's literally like, if no one does their job, I can't do mine. We just wait. Bring it to us. Just bring it to us. Tell me what you want to look at. Tell me what you want to review. I'm not going to guess at the arguments you want to make. I'm not going to guess at what you want me to review. I'm not guessing on the law that applies. You tell me what you want me to look at. You tell me what case law applies. You tell me what the record is, and then I'll review it. That is how the Court of Appeals operates. So, no, the record does not exist. There's nothing to unseal. So, as such, there was no record to unseal before this court. Your request is premature, sir. Because there was no other reason for the juror to intervene on this appeal, we denied her motion on the ground that it was premature. There is still no record on appeal in this matter, but it appears the removal of the Egg Lady Juror will not be an issue on appeal, for which the transcript of the hearing resulted in her removal will be necessary. So because it's not an issue, the appellate court is not going to have the transcript of it. So, no. Further, by order dated November 2nd, 2023, the circuit court granted Ms. Crosby's motion to unseal the record of her disqualification hearing, subject to the condition that neither Ms. Crosby's counsel nor Ms. Crosby shall further publish or disseminate the materials. You have access to it. The Supreme Court's like, this has nothing to do with us. Leave us out of it. If Egg Lady Juror disagreed with the conditions placed on her by the circuit court, she should have appealed that ruling. Ding, ding. November 2nd, 2023. How long do you have to appeal? Given that we are in, I don't know, December 2024. If your answer is a year, Emily, no. Survey says, no. Mm-mm. You definitely need to do that within like 30 days. So, A, we have no record. B, we didn't make this ruling. C, if you disagree with the ruling, you should have appealed it then. So not only do we have no record, but it's too late. So yeah, you should have gone and appealed it then because you don't like it. So sorry. JJ with the dog said, can we have the survey says sound on the soundboard? We should. Yes, we should. We should. And then we will see how many in the audience know what the survey says sound is for, and who in the audience does not know what the survey says sound is for, because I'll talk about I'll talk about this at Q&A about my kid having a moment about like, how do you not know that? But we'll get there. It was like when my brother started dating my sister-in-law and she's like, no, I've never seen Top Gun. I'm like, I'm sorry. Hold, what? How? Alrighty. So further, by order dated November 2nd, 2023, the circuit court granted the motion to unseal the record of her disqualification hearing subject to the condition that it not be disseminated. You can have it, but that is it. If Egg Lady Juror disagreed with that condition, she should have appealed that ruling. However, no appeal was taken. Too bad. So sad. We therefore cannot rule or comment upon the merits of the trial court's order sealing the record. There is nothing pending that is a case in controversy for us. You are not appealing the order. You're just like, excuse me, court, can you do a thing? And the court's like, no, we can't just like do stuff. So no. On July 12th, 2024, Egg Lady Juror moved the circuit court to unseal the records for all public purposes. This motion has not been decided on by the circuit court. They're going to say it's not timely. I guess I'm going to have to follow it on the circuit court. We're going to have to track it. We're going to have to track it, aren't we? I want to know. Now I want to know. I want to know what's in it, and I want to know why she wants it so badly. I suspect follow the money is the answer, but I'm deeply curious at this point. Now I want to know. Like, where's the tea? Because it's here somewhere. Because otherwise you're not following all of this and then telling the state Supreme Court, it's like, we'll go to the U.S. Supreme Court if you deny us. And the circuit court's like, yeah, we'll get back to you later. This is not important to us at the moment. Because there is no record before us to unseal, and the circuit court has not ruled on the latest request to unseal the record, we adhere to our decision. We are disinclined to acquiesce to your request. We adhere to our decision denying the motion as premature, and we deny her petition for rehearing. Denied, 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 denied by the chief judge and all the other judges. All the judgy judges. Denied. Denied, 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 denied. Also, like, Mostly Harmless said, you wanted our reason? Here's our reasons. Go away. Yes, get out. Adcomet said, who even is Sue Esponte? We don't know her. That is a deeply, deeply nerdy legal joke, and I love it so much. We all need a laugh. So the court, again, is just get out. And Egg Lady Juror is like,
bring the jury.
Please? Please bring the jury? Please, please? Am I going to have to read this book? I feel like the only proper thing to do, this is, you know, you get what you put out to the universe. Because Griffin was asking me, Mom, what are you looking forward to do? Because I am taking a little bit of a winter break to reset, rearrange the office, take some time to hang out with the kids, play Animal Crossing. And Griffin's like, what is one of the things you really want to do over break? And I was like, I am waiting for a snowy day, which I don't think we're going to get in the next few weeks, but I am waiting for a snowy day. I'll take a rainy gray day too, but I am waiting for a day to just cuddle up and read for the day. Like I am just, and by that I mean my reading is listening to audiobooks while also casually gaming. That is my definition of reading, and sometimes drinking whiskey. So my definition of reading is audiobook, gaming of some sort, and possibly whiskey depending on time of day. Coffee in the morning. So when I said reading, what I didn't anticipate is that what I was going to be doing is reading these books. But I feel like we need a breakdown of what Becca Boo says about the Egg Lady Juror and what the Egg Lady Juror says about the whole thing. I feel like we need an episode breaking that down. I think we just have to. Pink Glamour said, what games do you like to play? When I am reading, it is simple, casual, mobile gaming, or things like Animal Crossing. So easy, simple stuff. I also love like the Pokemon main series games on the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is kind of my go-to. Really enjoy Zelda. Would need to do a replay. Ready to do a replay of Zelda because here's the problem. I don't have a ton of time to game. not nearly as much as I want. And then I forget where I'm questing. So when I put down something like Zelda and then I pick it back up, I'm like, what was I working on? Like there was something I was doing and now I have forgotten. There's probably something that I need. Like I need to go back to the way I was when I was a kid, where I had like a whole ass journal when I would like keep track of my Zelda gaming on the old school NES, because it was like, okay, this way, that way, this way, that way. Like I had like a full game, like compendium. And I probably need to keep notes of where I'm at, but I never do. And so I forget what I am in the middle of. And then I'm like, well, fuck, back to casual gaming, because it doesn't matter where you're in the middle of when you're playing, you know, Minus Merge or Animal Crossing. You're like, we'll figure it out. Well, were we working on 5-Star Island? Great. We'll just do it. But Griffin wants me to play Stardew Valley with him over break. So yes, all of you that are like co-signing Stardew Valley, yes. Though Griffin very much wants me to turn that into gaming streaming. And I'm like, but no, buddy. No, we're not streaming gaming. But Griffin's like, we need to do that. So we're going to game some with the kiddos. And so Stardew Valley is like a 10-10. So the Sock Snatcher said, oh my God, game note taking. Why has this never occurred to me? I might start. I have to, because I will lose track of what I am working on. But yes, I kept a gaming journal when I was younger. And that is, I think, a function of the ADHD that my brain just I didn't remember what I was working on or what we had accomplished or where we were going. So I needed to do it. But G definitely wants to do a gaming stream. Let's do a quick summary of what's going on with the Egg Lady Juror, and then let's get to some Q of A, shall we? Shall we do all of that? So for all of you that are like gaming notebook, yes, where did I put my notebook's not even on my desk at the moment. Everything is off of my desk at the moment. Why? Because I am, oh wait, no, it's not. Look, this is what we're doing. We're going to water journal it. We're going to do it. And we're going to game journal. So for all of you that are like, I would watch gaming. Look, I want to be chill as a parent when it comes to competitive endeavors. However, I am not. I am not chill. I hate to lose. And when we play the games my kids want to play, I get my ass handed to me. My kids just destroy me when we play things. Well, almost anything. They are so much better than I am at the moment. Because timing, they have way more time. So when we play things like Mario Kart, I just get destroyed and I get so frustrated. Not as frustrated as Dr. B, who is also highly competitive and gets so annoyed. But Dr. B also did not grow up with Nintendo the way I grew up with Nintendo. So Dr. B is like, I am at all of the disadvantage. So Mario Kart does not get played as much in our house because it leads to hurt feelings, mostly of the adults. And Griffin is just reckless, like just reckless in Mario Kart, and always manages to win. And then he's like, sucks to suck. And I'm like, look, child, I bought the Nintendo Switch. And then I'm like, Emily, don't do that. Don't do that. But he is so, there are times I'm like, damn, that was mean. So we do play Mario Party, which I very much enjoy, but Mario Kart hurts everybody's feelings. I think it's funny. But when we get into like the old school Wii bowling, that's really where the adults in this household shine. So step to me, kid. I will crush you at some Wii bowling. Mario Kart, I'm gonna absolutely lose. So we do have our old Wii, which Dr. B and I had like ages ago. So we've got the old Wii, we've got the Mario Kart. And then there's times we have to be like, okay, Griffin, are we having a fun family game night or are we having a competitive family game night? Because if we're having a competitive family game night, then that's it. We're having a competitive family game night. And then all bets are off. And so it's kind of fun because Travis with the hand-eye coordination is quite good. And Griffin has gotten to the age where he doesn't get as mad when he loses, as long as he beats Brian or I. So as long as one of the adults loses, he's fine. But Travis just wrecks all of us. but he also games on a level that I don't even know how he can see the things that are coming at him in his gaming with his friends. So, but we ask, are we having a fun game night or are we having a feisty game night? And so we play a lot of like Uno and stuff like that. All right. I was going to summarize Egg Lady Juror, and then we're going to do Q&A. And then thank you, Cheryl. Yes, we'll get to some of the Griffin stories because he is hilarious. So, juror number 785, also referred to widely as the Egg Lady Juror, because when she was removed from the Murdaugh jury prior to the jury going to deliberation and closing arguments, she asked if she could go back to the jury room and get her eggs, which all of us completely understand because, yes, if somebody brings you a dozen organic eggs, you are going to take them with you when you go home. The juror is trying to get the record of the hearing in camera that resulted in her removal unsealed. And what we learn from the filings and from the ruling of the court is that the juror and her lawyer, Joe McCullough, have access to those records, but the access came with a restriction. And the restriction was that this sealed record is allowed to be reviewed by the juror and her lawyer, but cannot be further disseminated. And since this juror has also written a book, as the chat so helpfully let me know, because Chat is Bay and the best research attorneys in the world, her book, Enough is Enough, has been published. Does she want this for public dissemination? Yes. In the defense motion requesting a rehearing on the court's denial of the unsealing of the record, it said she would like to rebut or refute the things that the media and bloggers are saying about her removal. I don't know if in, December of 2024, anybody's still talking about it, but now we are because of the court filings. What the court illuminated in their ruling is, one, they were disinclined to acquiesce to the request to change their mind, and they said, no, we're not unsealing this record. It's not before us. And two, if you did not like the restrictions the court placed on you when they allowed you access to the record and said it just can't be disseminated, then you need to appeal that order. But that order came down in November 2023. And you know what they didn't do? Appeal it. Not until July of 2024, when this juror and her lawyer finally asked the court to allow that to not just be unsealed so they could access it, but to allow it to be publicly unsealed so anyone can access that transcript or record, or so they can disseminate it. So the Supreme Court of South Carolina was like, no, you can't intervene. No, we're not unsealing it. No, we don't even have this record, and go back and wait for the circuit court to rule on it. And the circuit court might just well find it's untimely because they put a restriction on it and that restriction was not appealed. So will we see a transcript of what happened? Maybe. Am I now very curious as to what purpose this is all going to be used for? Yes. Did the Egg Lady Juror reference Becky Hill, the former clerk of court's book? Yes. Did the Egg Lady Juror say that Becky Hill wrote about that sealed in-camera hearing in her book? Yeah, she said that in a filing. So I know what I'm going to be doing in December. I'm going to be taking a look to see what is exactly said in that book, and then I'm going to cover it on an episode of Quick Bits, because now I just need to know. I need to know what are we talking about, and I now want to figure out why this juror is so mad about this record still being sealed, because this has nothing to do with anything, unless it has to do with a new book deal. So I guess we'll see when this is decided on at some point in the future by the circuit court. And with that, you have questions, I have questions, we have questions. Let's go. All right, y'all. First of all, y'all were like, let's tell the story about Griffin. We will. But Buffy in the chat said, I want to know too, but I don't want to read the book. I've got you. I will do it, and then I'll summarize it. I've got you. This is what we're here for. This is the deep dive. Like, this is a side quest to the legal filings, but it's all mentioned in the legal filings. So I'm maintaining this is not just a search for tea. This is actually part of the legal filings. And I'm happy to go on a side quest about what this juror is on about. Because honestly, we've covered so much stuff that is heavy. We've covered so many stories that are heavy. We've covered so many homicide cases. I'm ready for a side quest on what this juror's on about and if everybody's going to write a book. Like, I want to know. I want to know too. I'm curious. I'm invested. Let's do it. Let's just figure it out. So I will break that down in an episode of Quick Bits. I'll go through all of it. I mean, I went through Keefe D's book to try to figure out what was in the book that may or may not be used against him in the trial with regard to the murder of Tupac. So I wanted to know, you know, whose name comes up a whole lot in that book? Yeah, Diddy. Sure does. And for those of you who are like, thank you for the sacrifice, Emily. Oh, no, it's not a sacrifice. A, I want to save you all from buying this book unless you really want to. And B, now I'm curious, so I'm invested. I'm invested. I just am. So my youngest has really started to enjoy not just music, because he has always really enjoyed music, but he is playing trumpet and band, and he has a lot of sound sensitivities, which was surprising to me that he wanted to play trumpet, but he is very, very much enjoying it, which I'm loving. So when he has an interest that he's like, oh, I love this, I'm in. He and my oldest both really loved Wicked. Griffin has always loved musical theater style music, which we learned on the Disney cruises, because they always do like Broadway style productions of different Disney movies. And so he always really enjoyed a musical theater style, which 10 out of 10 love. So with that, a lot of the times we will either listen to Weird Al or we will listen to, right now, Disney musical music. Yes, Emily. Like Disney movie music, original movies. He wants nothing to do with Moana 2. The way this child is offended that Lin-Manuel Miranda did not write the music for Moana 2, he's like, I'm out. And I'm like, oh, sir, look at you. You're so offended. His favorite music of all of the Disney music is Princess and the Frog. So, for those of you that are asking, is he a stereotypical trumpet player or is he more like a tuba player? When I asked him why he wanted to play trumpet, he said it was the loudest and most obnoxious. So he is a trumpet player through and through. He was like, it's the loudest and most obnoxious. That was the word he used. Then he said annoying. So Princess and the Frog is his favorite music, like that Louisiana, like band style brass heavy music. Absolutely loves it. And yes, Ashley asked this gets into why the trumpet became the interest for him. That is 100% why the trumpet became an investment. And yes, Lin-Manuel was not involved in Moana 2, and Griffin is offended. He probably saw somebody talk about it on YouTube and said, oh yes, I am also now offended, but also no lies. Like I get it. And then we had to talk about the way that Disney movies used to go straight to DVD and talk about the fact that there was like a movie released in the theater and then movies would go straight to DVD, and now they should really go to Disney Plus. But Moana 2 seems like maybe a Disney Plus movie that didn't go to Disney Plus and went to theaters. Anyway, so he loves the music from Moana, and now he does not want to see Moana 2 based on, I think, probably YouTubers that he watches talk about gaming, talk about Moana 2. Anyway, enjoyed Wicked very much, loves The Princess and the Frog, loves like Nightmare Before Christmas, all of it, loves the music. So we were in the car listening to our very, very shuffled playlist of like all of the Disney music, wherein sometimes I have to be like, no, we're listening to Lion King music. And he's like, ugh, Mom. And I'm like, let me live. I am a teen of the 90s, and The Little Mermaid and The Lion King are my jam. So you're not just fast forwarding through the music. So then, and yes, this is why Ashley McQuirk in the chat said Lin-Manuel was writing the music for Mufasa. Yes, this is why he did not write the music for Moana 2. So then, Let It Go comes on. Look, man, this kid, I'm like, kid, you love the musical theater style music. You enjoyed Wicked the movie. You have enjoyed some of the soundtrack from Wicked the Broadway musical. You will enjoy Adele Dazeem I'm teasing. You will enjoy. Let it go. I'm like, look. And then we had a whole conversation about, look, this is the same person who played Alpha Bomb on Broadway, and I love her voice. I love Let It Go. This song is so great. And he's like, Mom, this is just like Elsa's emo phase. And I was just like, what? And he does not love sitting in the front seat. So he's like, it's just Elsa being emo. Let It Go is just Elsa being emo. I'm like, child, this is a fantastic song. Are you kidding me? He's like, ugh. And then he says, are you in your emo phase? To which I respond, the only thing that is appropriate, it was never a phase, Griffin. And he's like, what? And I'm like, it's not a phase, Griffin. It's just not a phase. It's just not a phase. And yes, all of the emo. My artist of the year was Sum 41. Like, child. He's like, ugh. I'm like, it's not a phase. He's like, whatever, Mom. And then says, your hair's a little too white for you to be emo. And I was like, what did you just say to me? And he's like, I mean, maybe. And I'm like, Griffin, are you telling me that you think that I am too old to be emo? I went to high school in the 90s, child. Do not step to me about whether or not I am too old to be emo. It was never a phase. It's a way of life. This kid, he's like, sure. That's what he says to me. Sure. I am going to get and just start wearing like safety pin earrings again. Just because I'm just going full. We're just going full into it. So we had a very long discussion about Elsa's emo phase and what is and is not emo. Mind you, and y'all don't tell him. Well, he already kind of knows, but y'all don't tell. Travis and I, as Christmas for Travis, are going to go see My Chemical Romance. Like, that is, everybody's getting concert tickets for Christmas because that's Christmas. But we're going to go see MCR. Griffin, don't tell him either. G's getting tickets to go see Weird Al, but you guys are Sum 41's not emo. I mean, fair enough. It's a bit more on the punk side, but the 90s emo. Anyway, so we're going to go see MCR. That is what we are doing for Travis's Christmas gift. And Griffin is giving me all of the shit. And I'm like, fine. You know what? This is why you're not coming with us to go see MCR, Griffin. You wouldn't appreciate it. So a whole conversation fighting with my child about whether or not it was a phase, which he thought it was absolutely hilarious. And now it's never going to end. It's never going to end. Ever. We are just going to fight back and forth over Elsa's emo phase. Did I force him to listen to Let It Go more than once? Yes. Is it the first song I put on in the car this morning when we got into the car? Yes. And then he was just like, ugh. Again, I'm like, oh, you asked for it now, kid. Am I going to disable your ability in the backseat to change the music? I might. Don't tempt me. You're not going to just fast forward through till you get to music from The Princess and the Frog. I see you, kid. We're not going to do Friends from the Other Side again. Nope. We're doing Let It Go, child. So we had a full on 20-minute conversation about emo phases, which was hilarious. But he is so funny. He is so funny. Ugh, her emo phase, child. Yes. Dark Paka said there are cars where you can change the music from the back seat. Yes, there are. Yes, there are cars where you can change. Griffin has access to change the music unless I lock the screen. So yes, absolutely. So it's just hilarious. Miss Jessica MB says, I love these conversations. EDB is the perfect boy mom. I mean, definitely not perfect, but I'm here for all of the debating the finer points of what is and is not an emo phase, what is or is not a real airplane, and all of the lyrics in the song for Albuquerque by Weird Al. Like, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of the in-depth discussions. I'm here for all the neurospiciness. I'm just here for it. It's hilarious. And my kids regularly just make me laugh. So it's a good thing. Travis now does it by sending memes. Griffin there is times I'm like, he will stop me in my tracks. I'm like, wait, what did you just say? Okay. Really? The kid's memory is just a freaking vice. So he remembers everything. We get away with nothing. But he's also incredibly spicy. And sometimes we have to talk about where we find the spicy. So Jen asked questions. Hookers and Blow, Emily, will there be a members only before Christmas? I am hoping that there will be, Jen. I do not know the date. It is going to depend on how Dr. B is doing and what is going on family-wise. So it is my hope. But if not, we will do it in early January, because it is absolutely my hope. But I just don't know how Dr. B, we're still just a few days out of surgery for Dr. B. So it will just really depend. It's been busy. However, I'm very glad Dr. B did not get the flu and strep that Travis had, so he could reschedule surgery. So it was still in this calendar year instead of pushing it to next calendar year. And then he didn't have to miss school in the new year, or miss teaching in the new year. So that was all of it. But he is doing well. He is recovering well. It's just really going to depend. So Linda D, it is a children's book, which is also not on my desk. It is over there. It is a children's book about a tow truck and a snowblower and how they save Christmas. And when I say it is a children's book, it is a children's book. Is there innuendo? Yes, but it is a children's book. So with that, y'all, Erica, Dr. B had surgery on Tuesday, and we're just going to leave it at that, because if he wants to talk about it on members only, I will let him know. Lori, I did not talk about it much. I just said I was in caregiver mode just because A, I didn't want to worry anybody, and B, he is fine, and C, it's just busy and it kept getting rescheduled. So no need to stress anybody out. He is good, and I didn't want to stress you guys out. So I didn't want to worry anybody. So he's all good. We are all good, but it's been incredibly busy. So I have been in full caregiver mode, which all of you know that it is a busy thing. So I'm going to get to some of our super chats, and then we are going to get zooming. All of you, it is good to see you. There will be a new Quick Bits on Monday. If you are not subscribed to the Quick Bits channel, let me just pull it up real quick. It is where all of the podcast episodes, breaking stuff down. Let's see. Let me just pull it up real quick. So we have it. But the Quick Bits channel is where all of the podcasts will live going forward. So there will be a link in the chat. But if you have not already checked out the Quick Bits channel, it is Emily D. Baker Quick Bits. That is where any podcast episodes will live. Those will be up every Monday as we get into the new year. Will there be a new one this coming week? Yes, there will be. So I was hoping to tell you all about Tom Girardi's sentencing. And then there is no Tom Girardi sentencing, but there's other stuff going on in other cases we're covering. So it will be a quick one. So if you have not subscribed yet to the Quick Bits channel, where are we at? Oh, we're at like 164,000 subscribers. Look at us. Hey, go Quick Bits. That is where the podcast will be living, and it will be up there. And we also do the quick reviews of the trials. We do quick updates on the topics that we cover here. And then every Monday, the Emily Show will be up on this channel. So if you love the Emily Show in its new format, if you get it through the app, don't forget to subscribe there. Yes, we always put that out on the app. So going forward in 2025, on Monday, there will be a Quick Bits episode for you. If you listen on the podcasting app, nothing will change. if you listen to the podcast on YouTube, it will be on Monday on that channel. This channel will be all live streams. This channel is going to be live streams Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, starting in the new year. So we are going to have room for trial. We are going to have room for more topics, and we are going to have room to cover more things. So with all of that, we are going to be doing 3 live streams a week. Quick Bits on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday live streams. Friday is when I record Quick Bits. So that's when Quick Bits gets done. And that's also when we do meetings for merch and all the rest of it. So we will be doing all of the things in the coming year. So don't forget to subscribe over there so you can see those episodes going forward. So let's see. Chat wants to see my nails. They're so grown out. The chat is like, Emily, can we see your nails? They're very, very grown out, but they are a red. Wait, this one is a red cat eye, and then there is a French glitter situation, but they are very grown out. I was supposed to get them done when I traveled, and then everyone got sick and had things done, and then nail appointments just didn't happen. So do I feel a little embarrassed by them? Yes, they are grown out. But do I love the red cat eye for the holidays? Yes, I do. And then glitter, and then all of the things. So let's see. We are going to get to some of our, I don't even remember if I swooped to do, I have questions, you have questions. Just pretend that we did. We have questions. We have questions. Let's just pretend that we did. We have questions, because we do. David, good to see you. 2nd anniversary. Good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. To everyone who gifted memberships today, welcome to all of our new members. I hope those of you that got memberships enjoy them and got them and all of the things. B2, good to see you. Happy holidays. Thank you again for always gifting to the chat and being such a wonderful Law Nerd in here, always having conversations. I love it. I love it. I love it. Sailor, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. And Julie said, I want to copy the red cat eye. Just do it. Just do it. It's inspo. But the red cat eye is just, it's fun for the holidays. I love the kind of translucent vibe. It was fun. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do for my nails. So when I can't decide, the option is all. That is what I decide. I decide all. That is it. That is it. Julian, good to see you in the chat. CT scan tomorrow, preventative. We are with you. I know a lot of the chat has been through it this year. So we've got it. Wild, you're pregnant with first and have had a minor stroke. I am so sorry, Cindy. That is quite a lot to deal with and quite scary. Rebel Sore in the chat said, congratulations to my friend and sister-in-law of my sister-in-law, string, Rachel, for winning Survivor 47. I don't know when that aired. Hopefully it's not spoilers, but that's okay. Congratulations. Also, fun fact, when my husband and I walked into our reception for our wedding, it was to the Survivor theme song, which we thought was hilarious. Some of our family members are like, are you likening marriage to a game of Survivor? It's like, well, we're on the same team. We might vote other people out, but we're on the same team. But it was hearkening back to our early days of dating. Our date night was literally must-see TV Thursdays. And it was like ER and Survivor and takeout food because I was in undergrad, he was in school. And so we did all of the things. So congratulations. All of the chat is like, absolutely. Yes. They're very excited. Kathy at Oz is like, was so glad she won Survivor. Awesome. So it was a callback to our early dating, which involved us watching a lot of Survivor. When I say I've always loved reality TV, competition TV, the way I am so excited for Traitors 3, you guys, so excited about it. Also, Michelle in the chat, congratulations, Michelle. Look, for everybody who's celebrating in the chat, and lots of you were, where are my claps? I need the claps. Congratulations, everybody. Got into Colorado law. I'm going to be a lawyer. Congratulations, Michelle. So for everybody who is celebrating in the chat, claps to all of you. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Erica said, love the pod, got choked up at the end. Yeah, there's a few There's a few edits at the end because I was crying, and I did get messages from the team that were like, girl, now I'm crying editing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, me too. Me too. But all in a good thing, all in a good way, I'm so looking forward. I'm so looking forward to streaming 3 days a week and having space to stream 3 days a week. DK, thank you so much. I absolutely understand. Thank you, Lyndon. Lyndon says we manage our bandwidths here. We really do. And one of the things I always want to do on this channel is make sure that I am mindful of where everybody's at too, as we're talking about things, because we are a community here. So let us continue on through our super chats. So Carla, yes, law nerds are just the best nerds. So Heather asked the question, how does Egg Lady have standing for anything? And I think it's fantastic to see Egg Lady just go and appeal the ruling that there is. It's great. So go appeal, because then there's room to appeal because they actually made an order. So that is a part of it. Elfpire Eva said, hey, Emily, love your content. You inspired me to start making content as well. TikTok going to the Supreme Court makes sense. How do you think they might rule? I'm really interested to hear the oral arguments. I don't know how they're going to break down First Amendment versus national security. I'm not sure. I'm interested that they took it up because clearly they're thinking about it. So that's fantastic. And for all of you that are like, not the Survivor spoilers, I'm so sorry, Chad. I'm sorry. I don't know when the finale aired. And if it aired just like yesterday, I deeply apologize. I'm so sorry. Because I did not know when it aired, because I don't watch anything in real time anymore. Everything I watch is on delay later. So it is tough. So let us keep going through super chats. Thank you everybody for the super sticker. Miss Jessica MB said, do you have the buns that are sticky in hiding? Yes. The sticky buns are in hiding so they survive till the holidays, and so nobody goes and finds them. Marmar, I saw this earlier and wanted to pull it up. Thank you so much for saying hello. And of course, we have missed Dr. Moo in the chat and had conversations. I don't want to start to cry because I know that the entire chat will be like, girl, you can't do this to me. I am in public. But it was always a joy to see Dr. Moo in the chat. And I know that he was keeping us in the loop as things were getting more difficult. And so we always enjoyed seeing Dr. Moo. So thank you for chatting. I'm glad you are here, and the Law Nerd community, I know, sent tons and tons of hugs and love, and I am sending hugs and love to you as well. So yeah, life is unfortunately unpredictable, and we have, well, we never know, but I'm glad you guys had the time that you had and the love that you do, because that will never be taken away. So thank you for the very kind message and saying hello. And also thank you for sharing Dr. Moo with us in the chat. So hugs. Jen, we're going to go from sad to celebrating, because that's how we do it here. Jen said, shout out to my sis Val for surviving her first semester at law school. She's a big fan of yours, Emily, and LawTube was a part of her choosing her path. Much love to you all. See you, Law Nerds, in 2025. 1L is the hardest year because it changes your brain. I hope that seeing the cases here give context to the thing you're seeing in, and that your sister is seeing in law school, because the cases we cover, that context, I think, really helps. So 1L is hard. It gets better from there. And remember, you can only do what you can do, and your brain doesn't work well without sleep. That is my advice to all law students ever. Do I always take my own advice? No. Is it the best advice I can give? Yes. Your brain does not work without sleep. An extra hour of studying will not help. An extra hour of sleep, net positive. So, net positive. All right. I'm going to get to a few more, and then we are going to scoot, because I'm going to go check and make sure that Dr. B has some food. Daisy said, any update on the lawsuits by Erica's costume designer? The last update I think we did was that it had not been dismissed on all the dismissal motions, but I will circle back to it at the beginning of the new year in the Quick Bits episodes. What I love about the Monday episode is I cover, not in a deep dive way, but in a more of a status update way. We're doing this in this case, this in this case, this in this case, and then see if there's cases we want to get into more. So it's been a really good way to keep in the loop, especially when we were in trial. And that's how it really started, to keep everybody in the loop while we were covering so much stuff. And I'm really excited about it. Daisy and Rue's mom, thank you for the gifted memberships. Elizabeth Fitzpatrick, hugs to you. I am sure it is difficult. So you are in full caregiver mode, I am sure. Lots of hugs from the Law Nerd community. Edward, very, very happy birthday. Laid up with flu. Dude, the flu has been wild right now. So stay well, but Paw Nerd cuddles are always a good day. The Paw Nerds are trying to be more aggressively cuddling with Dr. B, and Dr. B's like, can we just be gentle? Can we just be gentle? So Alias said, this is the reason I like to see different lawyers. You all see things differently depending on which area you have experience. Yep. All lawyer brains work different. And it's really interesting to see people look at things from all the different angles. I always learn quite a lot, and I love that. So, this is the time. This is a record of the time, said Emily. Thank you for helping me through this 2024 where ADHD froze me in overwhelm of life. That happens to me too. I get it. It is not always easy to like get the inertia to pull forward. I've been there. I get it. You've got it. You helped me feeling okay and expressing and advocating for my POV. I'm so glad to hear it. It is hard. And here's the thing that people don't talk about enough. It is hard, not just to talk about, but it's hard when you're feeling like it should not be hard. And we do that to ourselves quite a lot when we're like, I should be able to do this. I should be able to do that. I shouldn't feel the way that I feel. I shouldn't feel frozen by this, but I am. Do not should yourself. Just look, the law approach is one of the things that kind of helps me with ADHD. This is where it is. This is what it is. I'm not going to judge what it is. I'm not going to beat myself up about what it is. I'm not going to judge myself for what it is. I'm going to look at what is and look at what I know helps with what is. And so I really try to take the neutral what is approach, and I try to do that with my kids. Just tell me what is. And it's like, well, I don't want it to be. I'm like, I don't want it to be either. But what is? Not what you want to be, not what you feel like it should be. What is it? How are you feeling? And then we can work with that. I still struggle with it. There are times where I'm like mad at myself for being whatever I am about something. I'm like, I'm completely distracted by this thing right now, and I don't want to be. And now I'm mad at myself for being distracted by the thing. And I'm mad at myself for being mad at myself. And then that is not helpful. And then I'm like, okay, where is it? What is it? Let's move on. And so trying to just get to the core of what is can be hard, but it does help. And give yourself grace, because some days it's all you can do. There's been times Dr. B has walked into the office. He's like, hey, you're working. I'm like, yes. He's like, but you're XYZ. I'm like, my process might look different than yours, but my brain is moving, but my hands need to be moving on something else. I'm processing. And so I know my processing looks different than your processing, but I am processing, and I need time for processing, especially to do this. I need time to process stuff so that I can do this well, or moderately well, depending on the day. And that processing time is important. And it's also something we don't really talk about. We don't talk about the time we need to think about something, to decide something, to decide if we need more information about something. I appreciate that the Supreme Court's like, no, we're going to need more information on that. We're not deciding now. I need more info. Yeah, sometimes we really need more info. And it's okay to be like, I can't decide this right now. I need more info. I tell that to Team Baker all the time. I'm like, I need time to think about this. I don't have a decision right now. I need time. I need a minute. I need a minute to think about it. And that's okay. We move way too fast. And for those of us that are really neurospicy, moving that fast is not always what's best for us. It really isn't. We sometimes very much need to pause and say, I need to pause, because the immediacy does not help us. And I get it. I love the immediacy too. If I order something, I want it in my hands. I want to like reach through the computer screen and be like, can I have it now, please? I mean, I don't want to get in my car and drive and go get it. I want it to be in my hands from the computer screen. But immediacy does not work well when we are processing, when we are thinking, and when we are overwhelmed, it is worse. We need time. Our brains take energy. Our emotions take energy. And we need to replenish that energy, and we need to give ourselves the space to process. We have to. It is incredibly important. It is incredibly needed. And you have to give yourself room for that. You do not, it is your process. I was watching, what was it? Clips. I think there's a 2020 coming up about Hermes. I've been wanting to talk about some of the lawsuits going on with Hermes, but it was a clip that came across on social media, and I will find it and share it on social and in the app. And with that clip, it was one of the heads, I don't know if it was the head designer or the CEO, but it was one of the heads of the company talking about how long it takes to make the bags. And the interviewer is like, look, if I went to go buy a new car and they said it's going to take 5 years to get this car, she's like, that car manufacturer would be out of business. And the owner said something to the effect of, but that's industry. We are craftsmanship. We're not industrial. This is craftsmanship. It takes time. Was it 60 minutes? Thank you, Charlene. Craftsmanship takes time. It takes expertise. It takes the time it takes. And then they were going through where people were hand stitching bags and saying, we take our time. And they were saying nothing is hurried. People are taking their time to produce something of quality, something that is unique and something that takes time. And they very clearly give it the time it takes and saying it takes the time that it takes and standing by that. And that is very difficult to do in a world where immediacy is getting pushed. It is not the usual to put your foot down and say, no, I need time on this. Damn it, I'm going to feel old. Back in my day, I remember talking to my dad as cell phones were just starting to become like a thing. And people were starting to get phones in their car. Like the car phones were the first thing. And car phones were becoming like this massive status symbol of like, who has a phone in their car? And my dad was like, I don't want a phone in my car. That's my time to think. That's my time to listen to music. That's my time to process. That's my time to be unavailable. Like my workday is done. I've gotten in the car, and when I come home, home life starts. But my workday is done. And so I don't want anyone to be able to get in touch with me. Like, why do you need it? Why the fuck do you need to get in touch with me? You don't need to get in touch with me. I'm not available. And then we started on to the ramp up of technology, immediacy, and access. And it's okay to not always be accessible, even if you are. Like, it's okay to put your cell phone on Do Not Disturb and be like, I'm not available. It's okay to be not available. It's okay. You don't always have to be available. It is okay. So putting the pause down is one of those things that is incredibly difficult. And it feels difficult sometimes more so this time of year. But it's okay to say you need time. It's okay to say I need more time to think about it. It's okay. It's okay. We do not have to be immediate. And when we are neurospicy, I don't know if I always love when I feel forced to do something immediately. A, I don't love the way it feels. And B, I generally am not happy with the result. So if I need more time to noodle, I need more time to noodle. Or, which is the fun, isn't this the joy? Or I need it to be so immediate that it forces me to get it done. like packing 3 hours before a flight. It's one or the other. I either need time to noodle or I need it to be so immediate that I am hyper-focused on getting that thing done and nothing else matters. But I very much remember that there were plenty of times growing up that we were just not available, right? Out on the bike when your parents couldn't get in touch with you, just not available. There are times when you're just not available, and it's okay to be not available. And the balance for that with me, because a lot of times it's bandwidth balance, so I can be available here and available with my family, means I may be not available everywhere all the time. Most phones, you can set the exceptions. So can my parents reach me? Yes. Because if that is urgent, then it's urgent. I also have had the conversation with my mom of the definition of urgent. Hey, I wanted to ask you about this thing. Not urgent. Hey, I'm really worried I'm going to need to have back surgery. More urgent. So we also have to define urgent, because not all things are urgent. And after working as a DA, my definition of urgent is very different than everybody else's definition of urgent, because ultimately it will be fine. And I tell this to Team Baker all the time. It will be fine. We'll get to it tomorrow. It will be fine. It will be fine. The world is not going to collapse. It will be fine. So it is okay to not be available. It is okay to take your time to process. It is okay to take care of yourself. It's also okay to set the boundary on what is and is not urgent, because it depends on your level of anxiety of what feels urgent or not. So have those conversations. I appreciate the comments to get onto this about the overwhelm, about the freeze. It is real. Give yourself time to recover. It's part of why I am taking a break over the holidays. A, to spend time with family. B, to read books. We're reading books. And C, for me also to replenish, because again, it is what I need at the end of the year to just recharge. And I love using this time to recharge. So with that, you guys, take care of yourselves. Give yourself some space to recharge. Do not should at yourself. Give yourself grace. Do your best to do the things that you have to and the things that you want to. Be very judicious with the definition of have to, because other people's expectations are not your obligation. If you want to, that is one thing. When they are your humans that you are in charge of, that is a different thing. But other people's expectations are not your obligations. And so make sure you take care of yourself. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you for being a law nerd. You guys are the best community on the internet. I cannot tell you how much I love being here with all of you. It is why we are going to be streaming more in the new year. Members, make sure you have the app. I am going to have to be flexible on what we do at the end of this month, but just know if we don't, we will do early January and later January for members only. We'll see what's going on with the family. I appreciate you. I will keep you all in the loop on the app with the desk project, because I'm also going to take a little time away from the other socials just to give myself a little bit of a reset, because A, it's warranted, and B, I very much enjoy it. I enjoy a little bit of a slow, puttery type of internet holiday. What did I say? I saw EDB is the best interweb filter. Thank you. I saw that the internet came to my mind, but I enjoy a little bit of puttery time around the holidays. I love a slow start. I love brunch every day. I love a good putter. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So law nerds, thank you. Jen, I saw your chat about your clients. I love it. It is always good advice. Law nerds, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a law nerd. May the holidays be good. Take care of yourself. There we go. I tell my clients to stop shoulding. It is 100% true. It is hard. It is very hard. It is very hard. Noelle, you're going to have a great holiday. This is the best holiday ever. Got myself a fancy smancy Jura espresso machine early from Santa. Make all the coffee, take your time, enjoy your days, hug your loved ones, hug yourself, and I will see you guys in the new year. You know, asterisks, my definition of urgent legal stuff is going to be very narrow over the holidays, but Law Nerd app will take care of you. New Emily show, Quick Bits on Monday. And then we are taking a break. Team Baker is taking a break, and everybody's getting charged for all of the trials in 2025. So with that, thank you, everybody. Have an amazing break. I will see you around the app, and I will see you in the new year. Take care of yourselves. I've said that twice. I very much mean it. I love seeing your faces, and I will see you soon. Bye.
You can stay up to date with everything I'm covering and fast notifications on our free iOS and Android app at lawnerdapp.com, or search the App Store for Law Nerd. You can also follow me around social media, and don't forget to check out my podcast, The Emily Show, with quick bits dropping every Monday, summarizing everything I do here on the live streams on Tuesday and Thursday for when you just have time for the quick bits. Thanks for being a Law Nerd.